Peacock's streaming new movies every week at PeacockTV.com. We'll have the biggest movies from the Twilight Saga to Selma and Bad Boys 1 and 2.
Bad Boys for life.
All your favorite movies like Die Hard, The Matrix Trilogy, and Good Will Hunting.
That's the good stuff.
Plus, movies the whole family will love. How to Train Your Dragon, the Harry Potter film series,
Brilliant.
and Shrek 1 and 2.
It's so good to be home.
With tons of blockbuster hits, you can't not watch. Sign up at PeacockTV.com.
We roll around here. Yes. And Mennonite Abe dropping a good Mennonite Merle right there. Sugar Britches, how are you? Drew Morris, thanks for coming on in. The gorgeous Kara McIver with a giant Merle from Saskatchewan. Adrian Tobin, how you doing, man? Oh, he's paranormaling. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, Pam McSee with a Merle. Yep. Jules with her, like, 9th Merle already. Super Quest, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Digger Dog, Jason, good to see you guys. And Dirty Filth dropping a dirty Merle right there. Solaire, how you been doing? Where you been hiding? And there's Kira with a Merle. The lovely Jenny with a Merle. Vodka Vamp, how are you? Thanks for the ad on, and all the promos you've been doing on Twitter. Appreciate that. Uncle Dale and his power stash, merling it up in Austin, Texas. Yep, there's Race Fan. And Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, how are you, man? I'm going to run out of time. I'm just way too excited for this. And Mystic Moon Cafe, how are you? Love you guys over there. And you know what? We're going to run out of time. We really are. Ian McFadden, how are you? Phil Minervino with a Merle. Horns up, people. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting here in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show for you tonight. We got Merle in the house. Happy Merle Year is his first edition of Ghosts of the Great White North with Nick T. White, former television star, child star. You know, he's a Hollywood. You know, if you see his face, you can see why Hollywood just loves him. Really, just loves him. I know he's shaking his head in the background right now on the green screen. But coming up in hour 3, we go to the swamp with our resident swamp dweller. We have John Hudson in for the Unbiased UFO Report, Shirky Poo's News, and the Thought of the Dave as well. Let's get this thing started. Of course, a couple weeks into the year, we have Merle joining us to talk everything paranormal on Ghosts of the Great White North, where we head around North America looking for some of the greatest ghostly mysteries that we can find. Merle is a paranormal investigator with the Paranormal Road Trippers, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia. And tonight, our special guest is Nick T. White. He is the CEO of Cage the Darkness, lead investigator for that team as well, owner-operator of the Darkness Cage. Everything around him is a cage, even a Faraday cage, and was the paranormal investigator for A&E Network's Cursed, the Bell Witch, a 5-part mini-series about the Bell Witch haunting near Nashville, Tennessee. He's been doing this for over 25 years, and his gray hairs and his beard show every ghost he's encountered, as Nick tries to learn more about what is happening in the paranormal world. Let's bring these guys in. This is going to be a good show tonight. Merle, how you doing, buddy?
Doing very well, Dave. Happy New Year. Good to be back to your show.
Happy Merle Year to you.
Nick
and Nick.
Merle.
Merle.
Merle. I got to get one in. Merle. I like the Paramerl. Whoever did that's it right there. I got to give me a shirt that says Paramerl.
You got
Dave
that
came
right.
up with Merlicious.
Merlicious.
That's so gross.
Yeah,
I love it.
We created a monster here named Merle, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
I
just smile and nod it. That's what I do. Just go with the flow.
Poor guy gets so
Even I
embarrassed.
need to embrace the Merle.
Oh, I love it. That's good stuff, man.
Merle?
Good stuff.
Yeah. We got to give a shout out though to Merle's and my good friend, Little Marky Spender. He hit the half-century mark tonight. Today, and he's 50 years old, and he walks like he's about 90, looks like he's about 100, his hairline's about 110, and he is just one of the best friends a guy could have. And in life, I will say this, and all due serious, in life people come and go. But when you meet a best friend, you know that person is going to be one of the greatest people to ever come into your life. And he came into my life in 2017, right after the forest fires, and we had a lot of common interest. And I'll tell you, it's been absolutely wonderful to get to know his family, his beautiful wife, Tara, his lovely daughter, the gnome that I call her, Katie. And, of course, their dog Baxter, who's absolutely addicted to me and actually watching the show right now. So, happy birthday, Little Marky Spender. Absolutely love you, my friend, and thank you for being a big part of our lives here, buddy. And don't get too many cheesies on your hairy chest tonight while you're watching the show in your recliner.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Absolutely. Merle, why don't you explain to us, our good friend here, Nick T. White, I mean, fashionista, television star, ghost hunter extraordinaire.
Call of Duty master? Can we go with that one?
Yeah, look here.
Yeah, there you
go.
There
it is. Yeah,
and Dave, we're going to surprise you. He wants to go extraterrestrial tonight at some point.
Really?
We're going there.
Oh,
we're going aliens again.
You know what? Merle has all of a sudden decided lately that he wants to talk a little bit of aliens. I think he may have some aliens that he's not telling me about here, but let's get into it right now. I mean, Merle, you can do your normal muting thing right now, as you've already hit your word limit for the half hour. But, Nick, I'm curious. For people who may not be familiar with everything you're up to and everything, 25 years you've been doing this, man. What put you on the chase?
Well, when I was real young, when I was probably around about 10 or 11 year old, I've had a lot of little weird experiences happen to me. I saw stuff moving around in my house and a couple different houses. That's what really had got me. And then I had a big crazy experience where this kind of just weird thing had just kind of made itself known to me. And it just, it was enough to just really dig me in, just want to dig in. I mean, it was just out of the ordinary. There's this thing that just kind of appeared to me at one of my old houses, and now I got a lot of friends that tells me could have been a totem, it could have been a spirit guide, it could have been just something just come and tell me, hey, I need to get my ass in gear. Excuse my language. Sorry, I forgot about that. I'm ex-military, so a few words might slip out. But and it just kind of got me. And to see things and to hear things out of the ordinary and hear voices and see this kind of creature-ish kind of thing, it was just a profound experience in that for me. And I just started digging into every book I could find, learning everything I could find, meeting everybody I could talk to. And that was it, man. I just hearing and seeing things. And these weird little things that I would pick up. I have these abilities, like, and I'll get in an area and I can read off of people sometimes. It's not something I can just turn on and off. It's just stuff that happens to me. It's just way out of the ordinary. And it was just like, hey, I need to start learning and figuring out what's going on. And it ended up getting me about 2011 when I started my team Caves of Darkness, and I just got a few people together and we started digging further in, and it just ever since then I live and breathe anything paranormal, or now digging into extraterrestrials a little bit, learning about space, learning about physics, and I start cosmology, things like that, because in my opinion it's all kind of related anyway. So it's just it's kind of more of a passion to me. I mean, I love all that stuff. Anything unnatural to me is is natural for me to get into,
For a lot of people growing up, I think we always played the game of, walking through a forest with our buddies and being a monster hunter. Yet here you are, making it happen, doing it for yourself. This is your love, your passion. I don't know if you have a daytime job or not. That's really irrelevant to what we do. But, I mean, you're living your dream right now in chasing monsters.
I love it. I do love it. I mean, it's true, man. It's true. I really think that I was led on this path to try to learn this stuff, because more I learn, I notice that a lot of more people has been coming up to me and asking questions, and I get a lot more questions, and I love to teach people the right things. I mean, there's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of people just go strictly off of TV stuff or go strictly off of one group or things like that. And to me, you got to learn everything. Especially if you're digging into paranormal, anything supernatural whatsoever, whether it be, extraterrestrials, cryptids, I mean, ghosts or anything whatsoever. I mean, you have to learn everything, even engineering and psychology, because sometimes your mind even, that's one of the main things that causes some of it sometimes as well. So it's just fun to me. It's just really exciting for me. I get chills sometimes just kind of learning things because it's something new. Like if I learn something new that I've never seen before, I'm like, it's like getting a present for Christmas or something,
Well, you know what? I love the fact that you are starting to blend everything together, because so many investigators out there, and it doesn't matter whether it's ghosts or UFOs or the cryptid world, they are so afraid of blending the information together. They want to have a sole focus, and that's okay. Like if ghosts are your thing, like ghosts are Merle's thing, UFOs and cryptids are my thing, and we respect each other's hobbies, and talents in kind of going for what interests us. But in the overall picture, it does seem to be all tied together, yet so few investigators are actually looking into that phenomena. Why do you think that is?
Well, I guess it's really TV a lot of times kind of leads you to one path. And, there's not so many that's out there doing that, that's really wanting to kind of spread out and to learn all avenues of that kind of stuff. And to me, you're closing doors that you don't need to close. I mean, like I'm saying, I was starting to dig into astrophysics and things like the multiverse theory and stuff that Michio Kaku talks about. I mean, to me, like if you start learning everything that you can, it gives you a better idea or like a muscle reaction, like you would martial arts. I did martial arts for 16 years. Like it's the same difference as that. It's like a muscle reaction. If you get out in the field and you're on one kind of investigation, say one day you're going out for a ghost, and then say maybe the next door neighbor is like, hey, I happen to see this weird looking monster or something that crawled out or something, and then say you pick up a gamma radiation, because it seems even gamma radiation gets picked up. Like when UFOs have been sighted, there's gamma radiation around it. Even Bigfoot sightings, you can ask some Bigfoot hunters that there's been gamma radiation where they're at. And even talked about like Bigfoot himself being like interdimensional to move through he's one of those that moves to the multiverse. And the ghost, I mean, you have these Einstein-Rosen bridges open up, wormholes that open up, and then here's ghosts. So I mean, if you put yourself on one road and don't take that separate road to learn different stuff, it just closes you out. It really, in my opinion, and I don't know. There seems like there's a few here and there that's starting to kind of open up to do different things like that. And to me, I love that, man. I mean, the more I can learn and the more I can see and understand is all about what makes me an investigator.
Mm-hmm. Do you apply the same investigative technique to each spectrum, from ghost hunting to alien hunting to cryptids?
Kinda. I mean, there's a small couple little things, like you going in, you kind of find out if there's any kind of energy in there, like your electromagnetic frequencies, or maybe you get a feel. Because me personally, I'll go in. I don't technically go in with any kind of pieces of equipment. I might go in with a recorder or maybe a camera, but I don't go in with a lot at first, because me personally is I think me is what is the best tool. Your body is your best tool, because your body, whether you have some few abilities like I do or not, or you're sensitive or not, your body is going to react to anything unnatural in the air, whether you pick up chills or whether you might get sick or you get dizzy or you'll smell stuff or, there's always something that your body's going to tell you. So kind of there's those few things, I'll go in and kind of that, but then once I kind of get a lead on which way it might be going, that's when I start kind of nitpicking on what kind of route I'm going to take for that different type of investigation.
How accurate would you say your senses are? Like, what are you feeling when you're doing this?
Sometimes I'll get sick. Usually, like it'll be like somebody punched me in the stomach. That'll be something more paranormal. The chills, that's just a natural reaction. Everybody kind of gets the chills when you get around ghosts and stuff like that. And I think it could be maybe this radiation stuff. That you're in that energy in the air or something that I'm picking up, and usually I can kind of pick a route one way or the other where whatever house I'm in, and then sometimes even or house or building or whatever, or even forest. I went to a local forest here not too long ago and just heard some stuff, felt some stuff. So of course I did some wood knocks to see if it was Bigfoot. Didn't get any of them back, which I wish I could have because I'm so excited to find some Bigfoot stuff. But Usually I can lead out with some stuff like that and figure things out, but sometimes I can't, man. I mean, I'm not no complete expert. I'm not the best in the world, but I just try to do my best to learn as much as I can for that. And if I can't figure it out myself, then I'll get a hold of somebody that might know a little more than I do and get them involved and reach out, because that's what it's all about. Everybody working together and trying to figure out what this stuff is.
Networking. I find that very important with the paranormal.
Yeah.
How big of an asset do you think that is, and how do you network with other teams?
Huge. It's a big thing, man, because if you don't network, I mean, everybody don't know everything, I mean, there's some people that might say they might, but they don't, because it's paranormal, it's unnormal, it's not normal. So, and nobody knows exactly what's going to happen when you go out. So if you go out and you might not know enough, man, just holler out. I mean, just folks like myself, or I'm guarantee that you, or there's many other ones out there that you can just email them, contact them, be like, hey, I was at this investigation. I didn't understand what this was. I heard this. I felt this. And can you help me? I would like to see if I can figure it out. And most of the time, they'll help you, and sometimes they won't. But it's all about helping each other, man. I mean, that's one of the top three things I've always, of course, number one's protection, but I mean, then it's networking. You got to have an open mind to talk to people and be friendly with people and cooperate. I mean, it's key.
Have you seen the community we're in? Friendly is nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it.
I know it. It kills me, man. I wish everybody would be a little bit more happy and excited, because it's a little rough sometimes seeing folks argue and things over just nothing, and it's a little saddening. And I've seen a lot of my friends actually that's backed out of the paranormal field because of it. But I always tell them, don't let people run you off. Don't let people discourage you, because if you love it and you enjoy it, do it. Don't worry about what anybody else says, and enjoy it yourself, and do it for yourself if you enjoy it. That's, for me, that's what I do. If I wasn't blessed to be on TV or any of this other stuff, I would still be right out there in the field doing the same thing every single time, because it's something I enjoy and love very much. Yeah, I like my Call of Duty, but paranormal is my thing, man. I'll get out there and go anytime, any place, anywhere, even no matter what. I don't even have to. You don't have to video, put it on, nothing like that. I just want to go out and have some fun and bring in my friends and find out some wild stuff.
Nick, you appeared on the A&E special about the Bell Witch, and you got your feet dipped in paranormal television for a little bit here. The question that I have, and I'm formulating it here, and I apologize, it's taking me just an extra second here, but the majority of people in ghost hunting are highly critical of paranormal television. Is that rightfully so? I mean, we've had people on, from Dave Schrader to Dustin Pari to a number of different, Brandon Alvis, Mustafa Gadalari, Ross Hallison, from some big shows. And, the one thing they have in common is, well, our show wasn't faked, our show wasn't faked, our show wasn't faked, yet... And that's not saying that they aren't telling the truth, but there's a highly critical point about paranormal television here that has turned a lot of people off, especially within its own community. Is that a fair assessment in stating that paranormal television has not done a good job at being congruent with the paranormal community?
Well, my answer to that is, as a real investigator, when I watch paranormal TV, I'm looking for these folks, whoever's on TV, to do a full-out real investigation, exactly how I would do it or similar. And it just seems the shows just kind of seem the same is all. That's the way I look at it. A lot of them, there's a few out there that kind of branches out and does something different. But I think it's just all about, making someone like myself or Merle, or yourself, real investigators feel like they're a part of that investigation. And sometimes, with it being on TV, people are going to expect, hey, it's something like, like Paranormal Activity or something. They're thinking it's a movie or it's going to be faked and all this other stuff. That's not going to be the case. I mean, yeah, you're on TV, but they expect you to show your emotions and to show exactly how you feel. If you feel sad, cry. If you feel angry, get mad. I mean, they want you to feel and show your feelings and show everything on TV. And I just think that it's sometimes not portrayed that way to real investigators. And I hate that, because there's like Dave, there's a few of them out there that does great shows and does great investigations and real investigations. And it's just a matter of, how those shows come off to some real investigators. And I think that's the case. It just, people just want to feel like they're part of a real investigation. And that's, with people kind of getting excited, like your GAC guys, they get kind of crazy excited and all that stuff. But, I do too. When I get out there and I'm investigating and something friggin' touches me on the shoulder, the recent YouTube video when I went up to Virginia City and I did some filming inside a Washoe Club, this thing grabbed me on the shoulder. I jumped like something pinched me on the butt or something, I mean, it got me, and I show my emotion, and that's what people want to see. They really want to see that real investigation. And I think that's what it is. It's just kind of a little bit of a separation from these investigators watching the TVs to the shows themselves. So if we could these shows can get a little bit more in depth with the real investigators, I think it'll get better.
Merle, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think a lot of shows get too complex, too muddy with the different tech, different gear, the different phone apps, the different like Ovilus and all that stuff.
Peacock's streaming new movies every week at PeacockTV.com. We'll have the biggest movies from the Twilight Saga to Selma and Bad Boys 1 and 2.
Bad Boys for life.
All your favorite movies like Die Hard, The Matrix Trilogy, and Good Will Hunting.
That's the good stuff.
Plus, movies the whole family will love. How to Train Your Dragon, the Harry Potter film series,
Brilliant.
and Shrek 1 and 2.
It's so good to be home.
With tons of blockbuster hits you can't not watch. Sign up at PeacockTV.com. Peacock's streaming new movies every week at PeacockTV.com. We'll have the biggest movies from the Twilight Saga to Selma and Bad Boys 1 and 2.
Bad Boys for life.
All your favorite movies like Die Hard, The Matrix Trilogy, and Good Will Hunting.
That's the good stuff.
Plus, movies the whole family will love. How to Train Your Dragon, the Harry Potter film series,
Brilliant.
and Shrek 1 and 2.
It's so good to be home.
With tons of blockbuster hits you can't not watch. Sign up at PeacockTV.com.
Running right now evidence. But Nick, you 100% know you'll be on an investigation for 8 hours to not hear boo.
Yep, you got that right.
It's boring. You're falling asleep like this, sitting on the floor in the abandoned town.
Yep.
You're doing the nods, and all of a sudden, half an hour left, you get touched, or you hear even a crack or something falling.
Yeah.
Made it worth it.
Be like, yeah, exactly.
But like you have these apps or these Ovuluses and stuff like that. Like they say, demon, nest, butt. Oh my God, there's a demon in the nest by the butt. Like and then that's the show. And I find that kind of gives our field a kind of a bad name. And it's not only hate for that, but whatever it is, it is what it is. Like you, I'm like, I like this guy. At the beginning of the show, and you're like, bring me in an investigation with a recorder and a camera. I'm like, yes. And you're done. Those are that's like the trifecta of things I think you need.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the EDI Plus, because it gives you the vibration, the EMF. It's an all-in-one tool, and it's it's been proven to work. If you, I'll say it, it's been proven to work because it spits out data, it records your data, and yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying.
Love the EDI. I love that thing, man. I used that at Washoe Club. Matter of fact, we had sat it out on a chair, and I don't know what was going on in there, but like we would talk, just ask questions, and every now and then you'd see those little lights coming up, and even from the temperature gauge and all that. I love those ones that does all of it in one. Because if you can just narrow it down just to one piece of equipment, gives you just the basics like the temperature, your energy readings, like your milligauss readings, and like the geophone on it where it'll give you the vibrations. If you just have a few things in that one, even Gary Galka has came out with something new that's got something similar to that. That if you can go in with one piece of equipment instead of cake and a whole big man, my back is horrible in real life. You know, I have a bad back, so I'm not trying to carry like a rucksack like I was in the military and running inside of a house and then me trying to run around inside this. Like, what if there's stairs? You know, and what if this place is huge, like Penhurst Asylum or something as big as something like that? You know, I'm not trying to walk in there with everything on my shoulders. I would rather go in there with one piece of equipment, one little recorder, and just go and just, you know, have fun and look around and getting in there and just stay quiet, sit around and enjoy myself. And like you're saying, though, man, I've been on investigations. I sit for 10 hours straight, 10 full straight hours and literally not hear a thing. But that whole 10 hours to me was exciting. Whether or not I heard something, that's what I'm there for. And that's what I'm agreeing with you about that on TV.
Gentlemen,
you don't always have to show.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Goes to the Great White North. Merle is here. Yep, Merle. And Nick T. White from A&E's The Blair Witch. Yep.
Bell Witch.
Bell Witch, that's right. I was kind of confused. Bad host. Going into the second half hour, Spaced Out Radio now. You know, the Blair Witch to this day still scares the shit out of me.
Right. I like the second movie. The one where they kind of movied it up a little bit more.
I never saw the second one. I usually don't watch part twos.
Well, that one went towards like a movie style instead of that shaky cam and makes you dizzy the whole time during the first one. But the second one, they made it more like a movie, and there was like some really crazy stuff going on. Yeah, check it out. It's actually worth watching. I enjoyed it.
You know what movie? It's one of my favorite horror movies right now. I tell everyone if you have to watch it or you don't like horror movies. Hell House. Hell House LLC.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, dude, it's probably...
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I'll
there's like
that.
a 1, 2, and a 3. Number 1 and 2 are good, but 3 is horrible.
Right. It's always when they start kind of spreading out to 3, 4, 5, and all those, it gets worse, doesn't it?
Although I saw Scream. I won't give any spoilers away. The new Scream movie. And
did you? Good.
I'll put it in the same class as the first one. I liked it as much as the first one.
Oh well, I like that one cat. The dude, he plays Boimler on the new Star Trek little Lower Decks cartoon thing. He played in The Boys. The guy, skinny guy with the little goatee. He's probably one of the stars. I forgot his name though. I don't know what his name is in the thing, but I really like that cat, so I'm sure I'll enjoy that movie because he's a funny guy.
I was very impressed on the new Scream commercials that my 90s crush Neve Campbell is back. Oh, I loved her.
She's going to be she's in this new one?
Yeah, I love her.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. I liked her in Wild Things.
Girl. Oh, yeah. Good Canadian girl right there. Nightmare, how you doing, man? Good to see you. There's little Marky Spender celebrating his 50th birthday. 50. Yeah, from the old age pensioners bingo hall right now, waiting for Clickety Click 66 to be called on the blackout. That's what you do when you get to 50, at least up here. Mm-hmm.
What flavor today, Dave?
Orange and pineapple. Yeah,
it's an odd
pineapple. Oh, you lost me at pineapple.
The pineapple one's actually pretty good. Nick, what's your links?
You don't put pineapple on your pizza, do you?
Oh yeah, I do. Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Nick, what's your links?
Let's see. One would be the @Case of Darkness, and that's the Instagram and Twitter. The then I've got the new Twitch where I'm going to start streaming stuff. That's twitch.tv/Nick White CTD. And then I've got youtube.com Nick T White. That's my YouTube channel. I think that's. Oh, I got a new TikTok. I've started TikTok. What? TikTok, and it's Nick White CTD.
I've lost hours of mindless scrolling to that. I'll never get back.
I get stuck on the cat videos. I mean, literally, this one's got like 3 cats, and they like holler. And it's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And it's like does this little scene, and I don't know.
Have you seen the one where the humans act like cats fighting? That's a good one.
Oh
where
no!
They scream at each other. Yeah, it's good.
No, jeez, I can imagine.
No.
Lord, oh man, yeah.
What platform do you play on?
PS4.
Okay.
I'm loving that game, and I'm really starting to try to pick up on it good and get into the gaming scene. I'm getting to where I'm almost pro level. I tried a tournament the other day. Got in a four-man tournament this last Friday and a single tournament last Sunday, and I'm going to be in another one in 2 weeks, I believe. It's for Major League Gaming. So I'm trying to get into the pro scene. I'm practicing. You'd be surprised, some of these kids, man. I went up against a kid. I'll be 43 this year, and I went up against a kid. I swear he was probably 16. And this dude, man, I've never seen nothing like it. Like he'd just go in there and just, and you're dead. You just forget it. But it's fun, man. I've actually met a few friends through that, and I'm enjoying that. And I'm starting it a little bit on my YouTube channel too. Besides my paranormal stuff on there, I've got Cage the Darkness Gaming, and now we've got a esports logo. It just got made, and so there's hopefully some stuff coming from that. That'll be cool.
Awesome. My coworker, he does Call of Duty gaming, and he gets money for it too.
Yeah, there's a few tournaments that you can sign up and like pay a small entry fee, and you actually get pretty good money from it.
Wow. It's like poker.
I mean, shoot, the big tournament's like $200,000.
Jesus.
Hold on, guys. Yeah. Big thank you to Thomas Fessler ×2, Mike, Phil for the super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, so thank you. And, of course, the Vegas party, April 22nd to 24th. If you're going, 100%, email us at info@spacedoutradio.com. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read up on Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is Ghosts of the Great White North. The Merlicious Merle is here from the Paranormal Road Trippers, and our special guest tonight, Nick T. White. Yeah, we're talking ghost hunting all night long. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Thank you, buddy.
Not a problem.
Thanks, Dave.
Not a problem to have you here. And, just wanted to kind of get into the whole aspect of ghost hunting. And you dealt with the Bell Witch. This is one of these famous American legends that goes on, Nick, and it's still going on to this day. What makes this case so special?
Well, this is one of the biggest hauntings in the United States. Even Andrew Jackson himself had went down with a group and had checked this out and had verified that there was paranormal evidence down there. And it's old. There's a movie. There's a couple movies actually. One main one. It was An American Haunting. Had Sissy Spacek, Kiefer Sutherland's dad. What's his name?
Donald.
Donald Sutherland had them in it, and man, there's just a lot about it because they talk about Kate Batts being a witch, and this was one of those first documented little witch haunting kind of things going on too. And To me, though, I mean, after going down there and checking, kind of up there or over there, because I'm at the east side of Tennessee and it's above Nashville. It's more Native American related. There's a lot of stuff going on there. There's a burial mound right above the Bell Witch Cave itself. Was where the Mounds people. This was before the Chickasaw, Choctaw, Cherokee, and there's another tribe before they split up. They were called the Mounds people. And there's a whole burial mound right above the Bell Witch Cave, and there had been some bones and stuff stolen out of there. What was his name? Drury Bell, which was one of the younger sons of I started to say Donner Sutherland. One of the younger sons of Donner Sutherland, but one of the sons had actually went and stole some stuff, and it had caused like a demonic situation. Supposed demonic situation, but it was just an evil spirit. I think it was more of that sentinel. There was a sentinel inside that Bell Witch Cave that we actually had come across ourselves when we were on the show, and I actually had to get pulled off of me. So I don't think it was too good myself. But after we got out of there, and we had what's his name, Willie Windwalker, went down there and helped us out a little bit. It seemed like everything kind of calmed down a little bit after that, but there's a lot to it, man. I mean, there was wormholes and stuff like that we were picking up. They had stories of people seeing like an apparition that would walk into this invisible wall, like say here's a wall, and there was something like just walking past and just disappearing, like they were walking into stuff. Voices. I mean, we heard I don't want to spoil stuff if you hadn't seen the show, but at one point you'll see me and we're sitting inside the cave, and I kind of look back towards the back of the cave. They didn't show this on the show, which is kind of crazy, but there was a crazy scream, like a woman screaming in the far back end, and it literally was just like you would think, like a and just there's just so much stuff going on there that I really would love to go back. I haven't been back to go down there yet again since the show, but man, I would love to go back and check some of that out.
Let's do it. You and me.
Let's do it. Yep. Shoot, let's do it. Come on down, man. Maybe I can come up here to Canada and you can show me around too.
Good trade. Done.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go. I've been really wanting to go.
Yeah.
Doors open.
What happened to you? What happened to you, though, when you said you had something pulled off of you?
Yeah.
And, what were the emotions you experienced with that? Like,
well, my issue was I got too blame excited to be on TV and I forgot to protect myself, and that was the main issue. Because I always tell people that's the first thing I ever teach anybody or say to anybody that's not been into paranormal for long is you've got to protect yourself. Whether you're religious, whether you're spiritual, whether you find crystals or stones or whatever, just you've got to protect yourself. And I didn't because I was too blame excited to be on TV. So when I went in there, me and John kind of got back towards the flowstone. And if anybody's been to the Bell Witch Cave, they know what it's talking about. But I think it shows on the show. I'm not sure. But as you go back, there's a cavern in the first area where that stone grave is, where I think there was a little girl that had been buried there. And then there's a little small walkway that goes on back to another opening. And then there's this flowstone. And back through there, me and Chad was kind of standing up against a wall. We both got grabbed on the shoulder. That didn't even get shown on the show, which was kind of crazy because literally at the same time, me and him both got grabbed, jumped away from it. After that, I started getting sick, and they talked about John getting sick, and he did. He got a little sick himself, but I started getting to where I was like wanting to throw up. And once we kind of got out of there, it kind of dissipated a little bit, but a couple days after that, because I was only on 3 episodes of the show. I start kind of at the very, very end of the second, first of the third, and then I'm through the rest of the series. But I would go up for maybe about a week and come back, go up for a week and come back, stuff like that. Well, when I came back from the cave itself, I started getting just really, really tired. Like I'd been running for miles. Felt like I had no sleep. I couldn't sleep. I started getting really angry and pissy at all kinds of people and stuff like that. And it was out of the ordinary because I'm one of the most giddy, happiest. Even when I know it's a silly reference, but even when I'm playing Call of Duty and somebody shoots me, I'm like, oh, hey, good shot, man, good time. I don't get that upset. But man, I was just irate. I mean, I was just like this all the time, and it felt like I was just getting pulled down to the ground. And I've got a few friends of mine are in the clergy. Of course, I've got some friends that are shaman and things like that. And I had a buddy of mine, he's like, man, it feels like there's something literally grabbing a hold of you and oppressing you. And I was like, oh, it figures. That's what I felt like. So they did a cleansing on me and pulled some stuff. And he said, you're good to go. And literally, man, probably about 2 days after that, if I could sleep really good and I felt better. But that's one of the things that I get back to is like, man, you got to protect yourself. I mean, I got some stuff like, even if you carry like, I got one of my guys here, like even if you carry some amethyst, that's one of your best things. And my buddy that passed away, God rest his soul, Christopher, he made me a shaman pouch. It's got all kinds of goodies in there. I mean, and then of course I believe in God. I'm an ordained minister. I know Jesus has saved my life many a times, and it's all about protecting yourself when you get in there. And my mistake was just getting too excited to be on TV.
Fair enough. What's your protection ritual, and how would you give people advice on protection? Because I've done the same as you. I've gone in excitable and forget to do my thing because I just want to get in there and get the job done. But then you come home with residual energy, negative energy, attachments, and then your world gets thrown upside down, and then you contact your friends to be like, help me. But what would you recommend to people?
Well, it really just depends on if you believe in a higher entity or if you don't. A lot of times this is the first thing I don't go straight to religion or anything like that. I don't go to any kind of, I don't immediately go to say and pray and all that kind of stuff. Like I was showing you, like for that example, I mean, you have many different kinds of stones and crystals and things like this amethyst. There's like a hematite, a couple other things like that. Even my, I carry my quartz crystal, things like that. These will actually protect you. People ask me a lot of times, I'll say, hey, this will protect you. I'm sitting it out under the moon, getting it charged up. And they're like, well, what does that even mean? Well, these stones and crystals are just like a battery capacitor. Now, if you've installed any kind of radio or car audio into a big car, like you put a battery capacitor in there for your amp when you're hooking up your speakers, it's similar to a battery capacitor. Like if you sit these out during the sunlight to catch solar radiation, or you sit it out during the moon, you pick up gamma radiation. These things actually collect energy in different ways, and they'll filter them in different ways. And say if it's something that's going to heal your body, like a rose quartz, will tend to actually heal your heart and things like that. It's because that they release those energies that's been collected in different ways into your body. So you can carry stones and crystals and things like that. That's one of the things I do. And yes, I'm an ordained minister, and I know I believe in Jesus. Jesus has saved my life 3 times for a fact. And I count on him now too. If you believe in him, get out there and you say, Lord, protect me. Just to help me get through this. Don't let me or my friends get hurt, my family, and let's get in there and don't let them attach to me. When you get back out, do the same thing, and then grab you some sage, some white sage. You can take that stuff and shake it on your body and get that smoke all over your body. Get you like a little bath of it, and that'll cleanse that. And how that even does, that's not strictly just spiritual, it's scientific as well. That will actually cleanse air. Like the air has electrons and neutrons and things like that in it. So this smoke itself has been known to cleanse like a negative style, neutrons and things, cleanses that stuff out of the air that's not good for your body. Because like I said before, your body is a natural thing that's going to react to unnatural stuff, and that's the same thing. So if you take that sage, take you a big bath in it, clean yourself off at the end of the investigation, and do your prayers, things like that, you'll be good to go, man.
Holy Nicomania is going to run wild. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins, go to bed early, go hunt goats. Let's rip that shirt, brother.
Brush your teeth, clean your hair.
Got that right. Question coming from our audience here. Nick, what's the scariest experience you've encountered?
The one and only time in the 20-some-odd years that I think I was in front of a demon. This was when I was very young. Well, not very young, but younger. I was around 16 years old, and that was my buddy. Steve Waldron. He was my best friend when I was growing up in high school, and this was one of the first people I actually investigated paranormal with before I actually got with a team. And me and him and another friend named Steve, actually we called him Bump because his poor little face was just filled with bumps all over, so we called him Bump. But they lived in front of like an old abandoned railroad track, and this thing led on for just forever. And there was a big old warehouse that was near that area. And these folks that had lived not too far from that they were having issues at their house, and then they knew that I was, into that kind of stuff, looking for things, trying to find stuff to look into. And they they hollered at Steve, and so we got together one night, and actually we saw two things that night. This is another reason I got into paranormal too. One of the things that we saw was similar to like a railroad conductor guy. It seemed like what he had, like those striped outfits on, looked like he was carrying a lantern, kind of disappeared in front of us a little far away. But then we got into this warehouse. Now, in the back of it, there was no...
Hey, Randy, what you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. I'm just making a list of things that make me feel really, really good.
Wearing Bombas socks.
Trust me, that's number one on my list. Bombas socks feel so good because we use the smartest design and best materials, making them the most comfortable socks ever.
Plus, because socks are the number one most requested clothing item in homeless shelters, we donate a pair for every pair purchased, and that feels pretty good too.
To shop Bombas or learn more about how your purchase supports those experiencing homelessness, go to bombas.com/comfy and get 20% off your first purchase.
To show you how easy it is to file a claim with Geico, we hired a nature show host.
In the native habitat of a suburban driveway, the poor victim of a broken windshield is left assessing his vehicle, utterly helpless.
Well, not true. If he's got Geico, he can file a claim online, over the phone, or with his handy mobile app.
But like a lone gazelle, he'll suddenly be left to fend for himself, awaiting his terrible fate.
Nope. Geico will assign him a designated claims team to help him out, too.
So the gazelle gets his car fixed and everything. Wow. Nature is so cool.
Geico. Great service without all the drama.
Noises, there's scratches, there's just knocks and things like that from the outside, and we know there wasn't nobody in there because it could have been like a raccoon or thing like that. It was like, yeah, maybe it's something like that, but there was nobody around there. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go in there because I'm crazy. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go in there. You guys hang out here. So I get back into this area. There's like a little office kind of thing, like you just so you'd think it's just a little office thing. I opened the door, shut the door behind me. I had my light in there and went down. I sat down in the back corner. I probably sat there about 30 minutes. And at some point, I started hearing scratching on the outside of the door. And we had our little walkie-talkie back in. It's little teeny, little funny little walkie-talkies. And I hollered out, and I was like, Steve, is that you? He said, no, buddy, I'm outside. I was like, are you sure? He's like, absolutely. I was like, okay, so I'm hearing stuff. He's like, all right. I was like, so okay. I sat there a little longer, and it sounded like scratching. That's the best thing I can describe, scratching. And the door opens, like literally right in front of me. I'm in pitch black. Nothing. I mean, there's nothing that could have done that whatsoever, and I'm still trying to figure that stuff out. But it sounded kind of menacing. This kind of sound. It was kind of like a kind of thing, like a grunt, kind of whatever. Got scratches, got a little closer, and this is. I remember this to this day, how that felt. It was. I mean, even right now, it kind of sits me back a little bit thinking about this. You know what a horse sounds like when it gets this kind of thing? Literally it felt like it was probably about right here. This thing breathed on my face, and I felt it. And it wasn't like how a person's nose, you would think it would just be one little bit of a breath. It felt like it was hitting me here, like on the outside edges of my cheeks. And it was like, and you talking about scaring the shit out of me. Dude, I got chills over my back right then just thinking about it. It backed me up against the wall, and it took me a second to even like I was stunned because then I wasn't a real investigator. I hadn't dealt with stuff like that before. This is literally one of the first times I ever dealt with something that scary. And it scared me, and I don't really say many things scare me anymore. I get startled now, but I don't get scared of anything anymore. I'll get startled. Then I was scared. I was frightened. And this thing literally set me up against that wall, man, and that thing breathing on me. And I swear I saw red eyes looking at me about this. You can't see me. It's about this far in front, about 2 foot in front of me, about right here. And it stopped for a second, and that was one of the, I was real religious then. And man, I just said, Lord, get me out of this. I need to get, and I just felt like I was just tough when I did that. So I just kind of toughed up, and I said, get out of my face. And then I just took off, and I ran and went outside, and Steve's like, dude, what is going on in there? I heard you screaming. I was like, you don't go in there because I don't know what it is. So we're going to have to get out of here. So that was really like literally I was frightened because something breathing on my face like that. And that reason I keep referencing a horse, because how the horse's nostrils, are out. And it didn't feel like it was blowing on me right here. It felt like it was hitting both sides right here. So whatever it was big. That's the only thing I could think, and it literally just, and that, man, I got chills again thinking about it. But it just backed me up against the wall, and that's got to be the scariest. And that now the most profound experience literally was when I went to that cave. When I went to Bellwitch Cave, that was one of the coolest places that I'd been, because there was so much going on in there. Because we were just running around all over the place and hearing stuff and checking things out over here, and the next thing we'd hear something over here, and then we had a rock thrown at us at one point in the far back and all kinds of stuff. So that was the most profound. And then that warehouse, man, it was the scariest. It was crazy.
Damn. Did you ever go back
to the cave?
No, not the cave, the warehouse.
Down the warehouse? No.
Yep.
Nope.
No?
Nope. Nope.
Knowing the skills you have now from then.
I would now.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would now, because I know how to deal with that stuff now. I've seen and heard a lot of stuff. It'd make normal people pee on themselves. That's literally. I've heard things. I've been pushed, I've been punched, I've been kicked, I felt like, in behind my back. Breathed on like that, heard voices, seen shadows, seen walkers. I've all kinds of stuff. I would love it.
Tell us a walker story.
Well, that's kind of like them what I call walkers. Where they walk back on their legs and they're down on the ground, crawler, like a crawler walker, like kind of stuff. That was at Penhurst Asylum. I went there. It's nuts. It was crazy, bro. There's a lot of people that's seen that, actually. Have you got to learn any about Penhurst at all? Penhurst Asylum in Pennsylvania? Bit, yeah. It's pretty wild, man, some of the stuff that went on there. But there was I guess I should say crawler, but I say walker because it looked like it was walking. But me and one of my ex-teammates had went there, and we was doing an event there. And we were running around just kind of checking stuff out. It was right after everybody was cleaning up. This was when the event was over. Everybody's cleaning all their desks out, moving things out. And we was like, well, we're going to run back through. It was the Mayflower building was the name of it. And we went on back through there, checked some stuff out, and it was dark in the back area where we were looking. It's towards like a bathroom area is where that stuff was at. And next thing you know, you see this thing coming out from, I'm pointing like you can see me, like it was coming directly from us, and then it cut out, walked toward us, and cut through another little door. And me and him started taking after it, and I took my camera, looked around, everything like that, but it just disappeared. But Penhurst is pretty crazy, man. I love being there. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Been in those different areas because there's so many different buildings that you can check out. I love that place.
That place is definitely on my bucket list. I want to do that one over because everyone wants to do like Waverly Hills. I'm more of a Penhurst guy. That's what I want to try. There's
a lot of stories about Waverly. That one, it's like a big thing, and it's got these little. It's like a big shadow thing. And I've seen photos of it, and it's got like these little tendril-y looking things with bright eyes and stuff, and it's just the weirdest thing ever. I haven't got to go to Waverly, but I'd like to. Even the Supernatural show went to Waverly Hills. Did you know that? Old Sam and Dean has been.
And that was filmed here where I am. Like that whole show. Well, I guess not there.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Oh man, it's cool. I like that show. Even that show gets people into ghost hunting. Call themselves hunters.
I've talked to a few people where they say that show was kind of their turning point to get into ghosts.
There's a lot that's real in there. Eric Kripke, the guy that did the production of that, had even mentioned where like a lot of like the seals and the demon traps and a lot of that stuff that came from what's his name, King Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a lot of stuff. If y'all's watching, if you want to learn about some of those seals and real deal like demon traps, those are real things. If you look up King Solomon, where he used to summon the demons to talk to them, and they would use those seals on the floor to like trap them to where he would. That's how he learned so much and learned all that crazy. I mean, it's something else learned about King Solomon and all that kind of stuff. Talking to demons and stuff. It's wild. Yeah.
Now, you said you're in the military, and I like to ask veterans this. Did you ever have any experience while in the military?
No. When I most of the stuff I was in, I just trained and more trained. I was armament and missile systems mechanic on Cobra helicopters, and I joined in the delayed entry program when I was in high school. I went to Smyrna, right outside of Smyrna, near the National Guard base. I was doing that till I got out of high school, and then went to Fort Jackson, Relaxing Jackson, South Carolina, and then went to Fort Euston, Virginia for my AIT, and then just kind of trained. I was kind of got in right after the Desert Storm and Desert Shield stuff, and got out right before the Iraq stuff. So I was a little disappointed I didn't get to go overseas and do some stuff like that. But I mean, I enjoyed it, every bit of it. I really think everybody should at least go in 1 or 2 years of military, man. If I wouldn't have gone to the military, I'd been dead or in jail, one of the two. I was crazy as crap when I was young.
Well, we thank you for your service anyways, and it takes a strong person to be able to serve one's country. It really does. I want to ask you, just to kind of build off of what Merle was saying, quick shout out to Ross Allison, who is tuning on in tonight, one of our favorite paranormal investigators
Ross.
in the world here, and thank you, Ross, for tuning on in. But when it comes to ghosts and everything, have you ever had any experiences with the paranormal that tied to other phenomena, whether it was UFOs, aliens, cryptids?
Well, yeah, actually. This was in Pennsylvania. There was it was kind of like a Bigfoot / ghost outing that I was doing with a buddy of mine, Eric Altman. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's
good friend of the show.
He's a wonderful guy, man. Wonderful guy. You guys should have him on the show. He's smart, man. He's the one that really got me interested in more Bigfoot stuff. But at this place, what was the name of it? Ramblewood campground area. There was like a supposed Bigfoot sighting there, and there was a lot of paranormal stuff going on. And what had happened, him and I had went through, we were going to take some folks on a Bigfoot hunt through this back area of the woods and stuff. And we went earlier during the daytime, and, we wanted to make sure the trail was going to be safe for everybody so we could go back through there, take everybody through. And, we go back all the way around, and we saw some fairy rings. If anybody knows, about the fairy things, it's these little mushrooms that literally grow up in a ring, and they call them fairy rings because they're kind of cryptids as well. And we saw one of those on the trail, but then nothing else. Well, we went back later with the folks that during the daytime to walk them through, because we was going to go at night as well. So we took the daytime trip. Even the fairy ring was gone when we walked through with the folks. Nothing again. We get back, and it was nighttime this time. So we start going through. About a quarter way through, something catches my eye over here to the right, and I've got photos of this. I believe they're on my Caves of Darkness Paranormal Investigations Facebook site. I've got some photos there. I looked up, and there's this big X, and it literally was 2 big old trees that had been ripped out and twisted off of their base and put into an X. And it was the craziest thing that I have ever seen, dude, for real. And
Nick
we went around.
Nick T. White, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to skip out for break.
Oh, yeah.
Continue this story. Ghosts and Cryptids next on Spaced Out Radio.
Your intro game is on point, bro. I loved your intro.
Thanks, man.
That was awesome, dude. I was like, oh, dude, this is cool.
Yeah. My man Vince made that up.
It's cool, man.
Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have asked you that question so close to break time, but we'll continue with that answer when we get back, dude.
Oh, man, I'm a talker. It don't matter. I'd run my mouth all day, buddy, I'll tell you.
So, Dave, Shane keeps putting Merle, there it is. It's in the form of Bruce, there it is.
I know. I'm okay with that.
Oh, there he is.
I'm okay with that. Merle, there it is.
Whoop, whoop. I seriously got to get a shirt. Oh, you're going to have to get me a Paranormal shirt. I'm telling you right now.
Paranormal.
Dude, I love it. I love it. That's so funny. The whole group, like, immediately, Merle! I'm loving that, dude. I couldn't stop laughing.
It's still going, man.
I love it.
It's still going.
Merle! I love that.
Strong name. That was my grandfather's name. That's where it comes from, and it's my
right name. On. Oh, right on.
One day I told Dave, I'm like, hey, So my initials are MMM, like Triple M.
Oh,
So I
nice.
used to go by Triple M, like, Triple H from WWE.
Yeah.
But then this guy found out Merle, and the rest is history.
It's over then, huh? I love it, though. It's fun.
You know what?
It's good stuff.
The funny part about it is, like, Merle's always like, how do I kind of segregate myself from the rest? Let myself stick out a little bit more. I said, dude, you got to go with Merle. You have to.
Yep.
Yep. You have to.
Yep.
I mean,
for sure.
If you just go like Mike, how many Mikes in this world are there? But there's very few Merles, and people always remember a good Merle.
Yep, they're loving it.
Merle.
I love it, dude. It's good times. Everybody's just merling it up.
the old and geriatric little Marky Spender says Dave has a tattoo of Merle on his back. No,
His
he
lower
doesn't.
back.
It is my tramp stamp. Merle is my tramp stamp. Yes.
In gang style lettering. And barbed wire around it.
Kind of go over the back, like barbed wire all wrapped to it.
Yeah.
Then the two guns, it's like that under it.
Too much detail. So good.
Well,
I love it.
Our buddy Mark, he's so old today that he lost more hair. Now he has to comb his ass hair upward in order to cover his toupee.
It probably hits it.
Oh, no.
I've heard.
Oh, yeah. Ass hair upward. That's right.
Classic Mark.
You guys are great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start crying.
The worst part about it is after he combs the ass hair upward, he actually uses Brill cream to style it, part it on the side,
Oh, man. Yeah. Good Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised that Mark is still up because at his age, most people are in bed for 4 hours by now.
He's letting his hair down.
Oh, shoot. Even I kind of go to bed earlier every year. I kind of go to bed an hour earlier almost. Oh, man. I caught myself going to bed at like 8:30, not a few days. I was like,
and
geez,
you know how
dude.
I know I'm old? I wake up early.
Oh, dude, same.
Not me,
for
man.
real.
What's happening?
Not me,
Yeah,
man.
I was up at 5:30 this morning. I was like, oh, what am I doing up? Why?
Yep.
Why am I up? I have to do that until like at 9. I was like, yeah, this is crazy talk. Getting old. Sit up and watch the news or something,
Oh, yeah.
Watch the news with a coffee.
Yeah, right. Read
Like
the paper.
Page.
Yeah, What's the weather going to be like today?
Checking a 7-day forecast, planning accordingly.
Oh, yeah.
Turn on the weather channel, make my coffee, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, because we find that informative now. Yep.
Horrible.
Oh,
Horrible.
Lord, I tell you.
Yeah.
Good times.
What does he say?
And that's how you're old right there, too. You're looking.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah. Oh, yeah. I gotta squint. I gotta squint.
Mark says I gotta go. Wheel of Fortune is coming on.
Well, and Jeopardy. You can't forget Jeopardy.
I don't know if he'd be a Jeopardy guy.
Oh no.
Yeah.
More of a Wheel of Fortune guy.
Love Wheel of Fortune.
He loves his Dancing with the Stars too.
Oh no. Oh no.
In Yellowstone.
Oh yeah.
Should start watching Matlock.
Oh yeah.
I love that show. Do you know which one I still watch? Because it's on like the Nostalgia Network here. In the Heat of
Perry
the
Mason.
Night.
Oh right, I actually used to watch that show with my dad. I liked that show. Tubbs, and
yeah.
Somebody, I can't remember their names, but yeah, I remember that show. It was good.
We got 30 seconds here, guys. Mark's so old today, he remembers when the Golden Girls were still in their teenage years. That's right. That's right.
I used to love the older one.
Oh, yeah.
She is my favorite.
Here we go, guys. Big thank you to Thomas Fessler ×3, Mike and Phil. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do. We got our swag, like my beautiful Merle shirt here at spacedoutradio.com. Make sure you check it on out and get yours. Here comes hour number 2, everyone.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. A backdoor. A backdoor is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as a clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Ghosts of the Great White North. We got our main man Merle here. Merle, there it is, hanging out with us, talking ghosts with television show and paranormal enthusiast, researcher. I can't speak tonight. Nick T. White is the man's name. He's got a fantastic beard going on. And right before the break, Nick, we were talking to you about your encounter where you were on a paranormal investigation, but you found some cryptid stuff going on with a big X in the forest. Let's go back there.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Me and when we walked through this little area on the far right, there was this big X, and it was literally like these trees had been twisted right out of the bottom of the trees. Me and Eric had walked around, looked everywhere all around this place. We looked for like tracks. We looked for like if somebody had pulled things up to hoist it up, whatever like that. And there was nothing. And you could see it was probably about 30 yards away from where we were at was this tree where it had been like the bottom of it. And you look at the base of this thing, and it literally was freshly twisted. And it wasn't cut, it wasn't sawed, it wasn't broken off, it didn't fall, it couldn't have done this. And it literally looks like somebody had grabbed it on one end, grabbed it on the other, and twisted this until it popped off. And put it in this big X. And I've got photos on like I said, on my Facebook, Cage of Darkness Paranormal Investigations. There's some stuff of that. So we checked that out and then kept going. We was like, all right, well, we'll take some photos, we'll come back, check it out a little more. We get on back even further, and there's this little bitty creek that went right down the middle of where we were going back in the wooded area. And right inside the creek, about this far, about 2 or 3 inches inside the creek, was a stack of quartz stones. These stones, I've got photos of that on there too, actually. These stones were wild how they were stacked. Like there was a really big one on the bottom, then a smaller, all the way to a little bitty one on top of it. And there was no way that this can get stacked like that. So we just started running through our heads like, why would this be there? And if it had to do with cryptid stuff, if it was Bigfoot stuff, we was trying to theorize what it could be. I mean, it could have been this.
7 iconic housewives from 4 different cities.
Look at this water. We're gonna give them something to talk about.
Vacation at Turks and Caicos.
It's a party now.
The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock. Peacock is streaming your favorite shows, movies, live sports, breaking news, exclusive originals, and every live WWE pay-per-view. It's The Office, Chris Lee Knows Best, and Peacock original shows like Punky Brewster. Peacock, watch for free, upgrade for more. Stream now at peacocktv.com.
What Eric had a few ideas. It could have been something like it was an energy collector because it was literally on the inside of this running creek, and quartz tends to grab energy and it holds energy. So it could have been like just something saying, hey, here's where people are. Maybe even that's how they open their Einstein-Rosen bridge to get through their wormhole, try to get through to get to where they got to go, or it just could be it could be anything. But seeing that was pretty wild. And then as you go on back even further, we went on around because it was like a big round trail that we're going, a really wooded area that we were going through. The furthest very end of it, this is where it started to get kind of different. We saw like a nest. They call it a nest. If you follow Bigfoot stuff at all, they you know that how they build their own little it's like a nest. It's where they hollow out a little spot, put a bunch of stuff like a lean-to, like you would in the military, like a lean-to with a bunch of stuff, and it looks like a nest. I mean, it literally like a bunch of little branches, all this kind of stuff, where it looks like they would lay down into it. We saw this and then started seeing shadows right back behind it. And I've got my video recorder. I've got a photo actually of us literally in a line with me looking at my recorder, getting ready to hold it out there. I've got that on there too. As soon as I started picking up that recorder and started looking around, there was shadows moving in and out of these trees because the trees were really close together and tons of them in this little area that we were at as we went around. And I swear I saw one that looked like it. You've seen the Native American chiefs that has those big old feather, the feather stuff and things like this. This one shadow, I swear, it looked just like that. It looked like it was a chief moving back and forth, and I asked him. I said, "Well, have you seen? Is there Native American stuff going on here?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, there's a Native American burial site just right over this here." Wow. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, there you go." And we caught photos and all kind of stuff, man. And see that right there. That was one of the first times that I ever there was a few different things going on. We had seen the little fairy ring, and I swear, dude, we looked everywhere and everybody was accounted for. We knew where everybody was at. That place was it was not bridged off. It was shut out to where there was a gate. There was security guards on the outside of these gates. There was nobody coming in and out of there to be able to make these X's, to be able to make the nest, nothing. Everybody was all accounted for. We knew where everybody was. So there was no possibility of these things that it had to be some kind of something out there. I mean, I know the shadows we saw was something, and this big X, there's no way that anybody could have done that. I mean, even a person, even The Rock, as big and monstrous as that dude is, I don't think he could even have done that. I mean, it literally looked like both of those trees had been ripped off of the bottom of it, and that there was probably it was probably 3 foot up was where it was ripped off, and it was just twisted right off, and these 2 big old X's. I mean, it's just straight up X. And I even asked Eric, what's the X? And he's like, well, they don't know what that is either. But, man, I would really love to find out what that stuff really is because, in my opinion, I always say this so that people don't be like, oh, you're saying it's this because you think you know. No, in my opinion, I believe that they're extraterrestrial. I believe that they're or interdimensional as well because these things, if it's coming over there doing that kind of stuff, collecting energy, they stacking these big old quartz stones up in the creeks going through, stacking these big X's, they're making these big, and nobody's seeing them. I really think that's why that we're not seeing them is because they're interdimensional. They're opening up their own doorways, walking back and forth to whatever dimension or realm they're from, and coming in and out. And I think that's why nobody's technically seen them, or really caught them like crazy good evidence yet of them. But I think there's going to be one day. I've seen a few things out there here recently, though, that people are starting to catch these things a little bit better. And I believe it may just because, we've got better phones that has better cameras because, even like you see a UFO most of the time, people will take their camera and take a video of a UFO and it looks like they're trying to record with a potato. Or their toaster. You don't record with your toaster because it's always blurry and all this kind of stuff. But nowadays we've got these Galaxy phones and got this HD and 4K and all this stuff. And I really think that within this next year or two, I think that we're going to start seeing better evidence and better things because everybody has a phone now. Every investigator that I know carries a phone that's got some really good kind of camera equipment on it. So I think that we're going to find out a little bit more here soon and figure out what that is. But man, yeah, that was a crazy experience to see all that stuff.
I've been taking my body camera into the bush with me when I've gone for Bigfoot or even hunting or anything. I always have my body camera on me now because I want to be the guy that captures it. If I see it, because you're right. Like, so you have your iPhone, and you have it on the best video setting possible, but then you see Bigfoot, but by the time you go in your pocket, you rustle your jacket, you have your gloves on, you take your glove off, you try to unlock your phone, but the Face ID is not working. He's gone.
Yeah, or your gloves don't have that little new stuff where you can actually open it, all that. Yeah. It's like,
exactly. And I do that on paranormal investigations as well now. As soon as we get to the property, body cam. The entire
Yeah, that's a good
time.
idea. Yeah, I got a Hero 4, I think Hero 4 or Hero 5 GoPro that I do that. I've got a camera now that I turn that thing on and just lock it in. I've got a little chest thing, and I just lock it in, just go and let that thing record the whole time. I mean, even if I don't catch anything, cool. But if I do, I'm going to have a camera ready to rock. It's going to get catching it as soon as it gets it.
Yeah. And Dave, the broken trees like that, that's kind of a territorial thing, right?
Well, it's supposed to be both territorial. We're not sure, to be absolutely blunt. We're just not sure. I mean, could it be territorial? Could it be for directions where, that's how they communicate to give each other, signs, much like sign language, or in the UFO world, we look at crop circles. Like, it could be the same. I mean, bedding areas with little like lean-to type teepees that are made in the middle of nowhere. I'm still not convinced of that, but I mean, sometimes you just see some weird things in the forest, and that's the truth. And what a lot of people forget about this, never mind just cryptids, but there's a lot of ghosts in the forest. There really are. Yeah. And this is, I think, a very underrated place to investigate. We always want to do a prison or an old tavern or a cemetery or a haunted church or hospital that's run down or whatever. Yet you can go right in your backyard and realize that all over the forests of North America, people were exploring. Whether it's a true explorer from 200, 300, 400 years ago, or whether it was a hunter back in the day looking for a deer that it took down to feed his family that night. I mean, there is literally ghosts everywhere. And I don't think we do enough of that back road type of investigation out there where, like Nick, your experience where you could see something combined.
Yeah. I think everywhere, anywhere on this earth, I think has got some kind of spiritual something happening. I mean, that it came from Pangea before everything had even broke apart millions of years ago. I mean, everything was one continent at one point. I mean, and then what kind of humans at that time, or humanoids or whatever, even back that area, there's people or things that has died and has been on. There's literally everywhere across the whole world now, because it's broke up and now it's across the world. So literally anywhere you go, I think if you got the right kind of equipment to pick up the stuff, you're liable to find something.
Question coming from Vanner Smith. Do you think that Native Americans had a contract with Sasquatch to guard their graves?
There's lore that he was actually like a watcher or a protector. I mean, that's one of the theories of him is, I think even the Cherokee had mentioned stuff like that, where like he was their protector and watched over them when they passed on and carried them on to the next realm, stuff like that. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's no tell. They talk about the star people, things like that. So what if he's literally like an extraterrestrial, not just technically interdimensional? What if he's part of those star people that came and made these pacts with the early Native Americans or the early, whatever kind of people were here at that time. And maybe it was Atlanteans and all this other stuff, they talk about. So maybe they had got into this, conversation, and it's like, hey, we'll do this, and just help us out. I believe it. Yeah, absolutely.
There actually is a travel guide for the most haunted forests in the world.
Oh, wicked.
California's Elfin Forest. I'll quickly read these off. Highgate Cemetery Forest in London. The Hoia Baciu Forest in Romania. Now, this one here, if you've ever seen any television shows on it, it literally has this giant circle that nothing grows in it.
I've seen that. I've seen that before. Well, not that forest, but I've seen that like that before.
Yeah.
Like there'll be one little small area, and sometimes it's around a grave. Actually, we on our show that we went on Cursed, when we went through that Bell Forest right outside to where John Bell was buried. There's a place once you get into the little forest area, all the way up to about, let's see, I'm almost 6'3", so right about probably about 9 foot, 10 foot up. Everything from the ground up is dead, and then from that 10 foot up is foliage and stuff like that. So literally, I've seen that firsthand. Even like the suicide forest, I'm sure it's on there in Japan.
Well,
that place is crazy.
Let's take a look. Here's a Hoyabachiu forest. I just got to read this. From the moment a military technician captured a photograph of a UFO hovering over this forest in 1968, Hoyabachiu has gained paranormal notoriety around the world. The area has become known as the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania, as some believe it to be a portal that causes visitors to disappear. Other people who have passed through the forest without being zapped into another realm, that is, report rashes, nausea, and the feelings of anxiety. The curved trees in some parts of the area further lend to the off-putting aura of the forest. There's the Black Forest in Germany, where a headless horseman rides around. The Island of Dolls in Mexico, which is creepy as anything. Pine Barrens in New Jersey. Wychwood Forest in England. Yosemite National Park with the missing people, obviously. And the Okigahara Forest in Japan. That's Suicide Forest.
It's crazy. That's crazy, that story about that place.
Yeah.
Nuts. People just go to that place just to kill themselves. That's nuts. That's crazy.
Since 2010, over 300 people have attempted suicide in that forest. 54 of them were successful. That's
nuts. I've seen one guy that was a guy I'd found on YouTube that had went to there and had come across like a line. Like some people will go in there and they'll take a string just so that way when after they had taken their life, that whoever comes in can find their body. And he followed a string all the way through, and then lo and behold, after he gets to the very end of the string, there's a body and where they had hung themselves.
That's terrible.
It was crazy, dude. Yeah, it's awful.
We got about 6 minutes left here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Nicole's question is, I had an overpowering sense of evil in a forest once. Was that a ghost or a cryptid?
See, it's hard to...
Or.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Yeah, it's hard to tell anymore.
I'd like to know where the forest is and what it was close to kind of to guess on that, because I've experienced silent forest before, like when I'm hunting. You know what? Throw me in any haunted house with scary, aggressive ghosts. I can deal with it. Put me in a silent forest in the middle of nowhere, armed, and I'm scared shitless.
I love it. I love it. I love getting out. I love getting out in the forest like that. That's my favorite place. Get all jungled in, dig in. Oh, I'm ready for that. That's my favorite stuff. You ever see that show Fear? It was on MTV years ago, where they'd go through and send people out and like stuff like that. Oh, I'd have loved to have done that. I'd have loved that. That'd have been so fun.
I will tell you this: it is very creepy when a forest goes quiet around you. Mark, him and I, he never believed in Sasquatch until I showed him a print. And I put a gifting site in this one area, and we went there one day, and the forest went silent on us. And it was the most eerie feeling. Now, we were armed, and all of a sudden, probably 70 yards to our left, we hear 3 real heavy footsteps. Okay, so when you hear a heavy foot hitting the ground, like on dirt, it's an eerie sound.
That puckered your butthole quick, didn't it?
Well, I mean, in our area, as Merle knows, there's a lot of animals that would like to kill you here.
Yeah.
Okay? And they're all big. And then you know, when you're people who don't investigate won't really understand this. But when you're out somewhere, whether you're on a ghost hunt or you're looking up at the stars for UFOs or something, your eyes just keep, no matter what, they go to this area. Your eyes are telling you there is something over here. I just can't see it. And you look away trying to look into a different direction, but you always go back to that spot. To me, I think there is something about that. Because after that happened, I'm watching this trail. And I just quietly said, come on, I know there's something there. This is after about 10, 15 minutes of my eyes just continually looking down and seeing nothing there. But for some reason, knowing I had to look there. Just come on. Give me something.
That's your body. See,
Right.
that's what I keep saying.
Yeah.
Your body will naturally react to unnatural things in the area.
And
so I believe that.
And at that moment, right after I said, come on, give me a sign, way off in the distance down that trail, nature's security alarm goes off. A squirrel starts yapping away right by that area where I was staring into. And to me, I look over at Mark, and Mark looks at me. I'm like, well, we just got our answer. Because now, I'm not saying it was Sasquatch. Not saying that whatsoever. I don't know. Bear, cougar, deer, wolverine, moose, whatever it could have been. Right? Could have been anything. But the fact that my eyes just kept down, and over there we're having heavy footsteps, you never know. You just got to follow that instinct.
It's crazy. Yeah, do you have like the Yeti more up there where you're at? Have you heard any of that?
It's all Sasquatch
throughout Canada.
Now north of us.
Oh, Dave, your audio.
Yeah, now north of us, there are Sasquatch that are said to be in the 10 to 15 foot tall range, from northern British Columbia into the Yukon and into Alaska, 10 to 15 feet tall. Around our area, it's usually 7 to 10 feet.
That's wild. They talk about like the taller ones are the males and the shorter ones are the female. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
It's pretty wild, man. I'd love to check that stuff out. I definitely have to come up there. If I come up there, we'll check that out, and then I'll bring y'all down here. We'll check out the Bell Witch Cave. How's that sound?
I mean,
good trade.
Yeah, dude.
I just got to find a new Sasquatch area where I am. Got to find a new Sasquatch because the forest fires last year kicked the tails out of my area. So.
Right, man. I hate to hear that. We dealt with some fires here in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It took a lot, but took a good. I think it was about 6,000 houses it took out. And people they're still trying to look for people that disappeared in that. I hate Jens had to deal with that.
Oh yeah. Well, hopefully this year we got a lot of snow this year, which is good. So that usually means that we'll have a good melt this year, which will keep the ground cool. That's the main thing. Got to keep that ground cool. Keep the ground cool. For sure. It does wonders. Guys, I'm going to get you to hold on because we are going to go to our break here at the bottom of the hour. We got Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers. Make sure you sign up for his TikTok and Instagram account. And every month, Merle comes on in for Ghosts of the Great White North. Our special guest tonight, Nick T. White, the Bell Witch, cursed on A&E. A&E. I'll learn how to speak tonight somehow. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right,
You
man.
sound like me. The other day, my tongue just wouldn't stop moving, and it just went all over the place. I couldn't say nothing.
Oh.
That's funny.
You probably haven't heard the story. I'll let Merle tell it. But in October of 2018, Merle, our buddy Mike, or our buddy Mark, who we've been bugging all night, and I actually got chased out of the forest by 2 Sasquatch.
Oh, wow.
At Canada, there's one area right by my town that is Canada's largest unsolved mass murder, and that was a plane that blew up in the sky in 1965.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
The whole plane's still there, like in the ground.
Oh, wow.
The seats, everything.
Dude, I bet that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when we got chased out, dude, the one was after we heard it, Merle and I heard it talking, okay, in like the samurai type chatter.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It was probably, that sucker snuck up on Merle probably within 20 feet.
100%.
Yeah.
I'd split up a little bit, so we were actually just doing we were checking the grounds out. We had some audio rolling, and Mark was with us. He had his big caliber lever action rifle, like a don't screw around gun.
Heck yeah.
And the vibes felt kind of odd there as well. Like Dave and I had remarked that we didn't hear any birds chirping. We didn't see any evidence of animals around. The wind was off too. It was weird. Looking back on it and from telling the story a few times with Dave, and so we're at this plane crash, and Mark's kind of got our back. He's watching what's going on. He's off to one end, and
okay, so we have the car payment, the rent, utilities,
and the repair bill.
What should we do?
I know. I'm going to CashNetUSA.com. I can apply in minutes, get an instant decision, and if approved, we could have the money in our account as soon as the same business day.
When you need money fast, be the hero. Go to CashNetUSA.com to apply for the money you need now. The exact timing as to when your loan funds will be available will be determined by your banking institution.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andreas Michaelitis, Chief Psychologist at Noom. But what's Noom and why does Noom need a chief psychologist? Noom is a weight loss program that works, with results that last, because we know that changing the way you eat starts with your mind. With Noom's proven psychology-backed tools, one-on-one coaching, and flexible plans that emphasize progress over perfection, you'll have the tools you need to change your relationship with food. So sign up at Noom.com now and lose the weight for good. That's Noom.com.
I start to walk towards a different end. I think I was tracking because I saw like cougar feces. So I was
not that time.
A little bit.
You're
not. I'm thinking of a different story, aren't I?
Well, the cougar droppings and markings when you, the draw, myself, and Bill Hauser were out there.
Oh yeah. Okay, so no, I was delete that part. I was just walking through the forest, and all of a sudden I kind of heard something running by me, and then I heard this weird. Dave calls it samurai chatter. I didn't know what it was called back then, and I heard it again, and I holler over to Dave, and he heard it.
Dude,
and
crazy, dude.
It was time to go, and I believe, make the sound, Dave.
Yeah. Twice.
That's crazy, dude. That's so crazy. Hear that out of nowhere.
When we went back down the deer trail, Mark went over. There's this cul-de-sac where the small cul-de-sac where the recovery vehicles were, and Mark walked into the cul-de-sac, and there's a little knoll to go up to this area of crash debris where Merle was doing his investigation. And I was kind of in between, and all of a sudden Merle just yells at me, "There's something right behind me." And I yelled down at Mark, Mike has something up here. And just as I yell at Mark, I'm looking at Mark's back, and he's like, puts his hand up like this, takes his backpack off, raises his rifle, because there's something bipedal coming at him. And,
wow. And
if you know Mark is the type of guy you want to go into the forest with. You know,
right on.
He's been an animal tracker for wolves and mountain lions. He's been a hunting guide. He's been a hunter, for the majority. I mean, what is he now? 80? Whatever he turned today, I think 80. And, so
72.
So for the last 70 years, he's been a hunter, and
wow.
and like he'll tell you point blank, he doesn't know what it was coming at him, but he knows the difference from being in the forest so long of something that is on 4 legs and something that is on 2. And whatever was on 2 was making noise higher up and walking towards us.
That's crazy.
So the one,
I can imagine.
If Merle's here and Mark's here, the trail to get out is here. They were pushing us out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Literally bottlenecking you out.
Yeah.
100%.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's something else, man. That's a cool experience, though, I bet, huh?
Oh, yeah. It was
Whenever
awesome.
we go up there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Crazy, too.
It is pretty
else.
cool. And then we must have that one time scared a mountain lion out of the area because there was markings all over the place. All over the place. 10 seconds, guys. Big thank you to Thomas Fessler, ×3, Phil, and Mike for the super chats. It's a great way to support what we do. Shop for your swag at our website. Here we go. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Ghosts of the Great White North. We got our main man Merle joining us as he does every month. Special guest tonight, paranormal investigator Nick T. White. Gentlemen, welcome back. A lot of questions going on about forests and a lot of questions about UFOs as well. And let's see here. I do have a question here. Aussie Tiger is asking, are UFOs connected with the paranormal in your opinion, Nick?
Absolutely. I completely think they are. I mean, when you see these things and they're coming out, a lot of this stuff is always giving off the same kind of energy, for one. I mean, like I was mentioning earlier, like there's these UFO where they say they seen them land or had been in the trees or in the area, and you always pick up that same type of radiation or same type of energy, and it's just, and then like if you're in a paranormal investigation, you pick up that same type of energy. So yeah, absolutely, I completely think it's got to be. I think that everything's related. Anything out of the ordinary is related because it's all. That's why I keep going back to like astrophysics and physics and quantum mechanics and things like that, because I believe in this multiverse theory. I think that's a real thing. I mean, they've got a quantum computer now that's possibly found a mirror universe to ours. They just hadn't figured out a way to actually connect ours to theirs. So I think all of this stuff, all of it, ghosts, the extraterrestrials, these UFOs we're seeing, the ones that's not ours, because I still think that we're making some too. After Bob Lazar talks about being at Site 4 and, backwards engineering these things, talk about the gravity that's propelling them and all this stuff. I think that just literally every single thing that's out of the ordinary is related completely.
I'm still on the fence, like with the ghosts being connected to UFOs and stuff like that. That takes more information for me to figure out before I can. But I can see why people may come to that conclusion. But like same with Bigfoot. I don't know if he's interdimensional. I don't know. I want to research the heck out of it.
What makes you a good investigator right there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I want to find out. That's the best thing.
Why. And I'm okay saying that. Before I was very quiet on my opinions with that stuff. It's cool talking to people like you and learning more about that and learning the different opinions and the facts and whys. And it helps me kind of categorize in my head and for the research.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Yeah. Dave? Any more questions?
Maybe,
Dave?
maybe. You know, there's always questions.
Back to you, Dave.
Okay, so the fact that you think that there is this tie between UFOs and the paranormal, and this is a great debate, you know, and great discussion, and I wish, you know, a lot of those conferences that are out there would actually have little roundtables to discuss many of these features in regards to it. You know, the one thing about investigating the phenomena is that you never know when it's going to happen. You can never predict what's going to happen or what the results are. Have you ever caught, Nick, anything anomalous that is differing from what you are looking for? So say, for instance, if you're out looking for ghosts, all of a sudden there's, you know, like in the forest with the Sasquatch, but I'm saying like on an actual ghost hunt. The reason why I asked that is, you know, Merle was up here a few years ago. Ross Allison was here. David Weatherly was up here. And
love David. David's one of my buddies. Love David.
Yeah, he's
smart
amazing
guy. One of the smartest I've ever met.
It's silly how smart he is. It really is.
Completely, dude. I love him.
But Merle and his buddy Jeff were using an SLS camera. Took about 500 pictures that night, but the one photo in the middle that the SLS didn't fire actually picked up an alien. Have you had something like that happen?
Wow.
Maybe not with an alien,
No.
but something different.
Not really, bud. Not really, to be honest. I mean, I hope that I can at some point, but no. I mean, the closest to it, like I was saying, that camping. Now, well, I draw that back a little bit. I went to Wheatland's Plantation, which is down here in Sevierville. It was actually on a show. Ghost Stalkers, when that show was on, they actually had went there. Chad Lindbergh and John Tenney and that group, they had went there. But I went to this place, and there was a few different things like that was going on. They had talked about different wormholes and stuff like that were there. And see, this is when I go back to this wormhole stuff. This is how I think they're connected, because I almost think ghosts aren't ghosts. I think we're just seeing into a different dimension. When when our energy passes on, I just think it's going to a higher dimension. I don't know where specifically. I can't say. Through religion, I can't say heaven or hell or none of that stuff. I don't want to draw into that effect, because I'm more of a scientist than I am really religious. So, even to me, I honestly think that ghosts, we're seeing these things and they're in a different dimension, and these aliens and all this stuff. Like, I think some of them are interdimensional too. It kind of, how are they in our, way of thinking, how are they actually traveling so far to get to where we're at? I mean, are they actually, flying at warp 9 like they do on Star Trek and coming from one space to our area, or are they bending space-time, opening it up and reopening it where we're at, and that's how they get back and forth? So I don't know. It's that's where it gets to. That's how I think it's all related. I just think it's all. That's why I'm digging into more quantum mechanics and physics and astrophysics and things like that, because I think that's, in my opinion, how that they're related.
All right. So for our radio audience, up on the screen on our computer here, we actually have the photo that Merle's buddy Jeff took with an SLS camera. So I'll describe it to you. This building is called the Post House. So the door that you see here, this is an entry point into the Post House. Now, to the left of the door, there is a big round circle. And this photo's dark. It's in the dark. It's black and white. There's a big round circle. That's an old wool spinning wheel. But here's the interesting part, is when they zoom in to the spinning wheel, there's another doorway. And there is the face of an alien and the body.
Oh, now I see it.
Standing right in the doorway. Now, we tried very, very hard to replicate this photo. On the wood, now the building is all wood. On the wood in the background, there are no round circles to be the almond-shaped head. All right? There is no black circles for almond-shaped eyes.
Dude, that's cool.
There is nothing.
Huh.
Hey, Dave, that wasn't an SLS camera. That was just taken on a Nikon point-and-shoot that'd been modified for night vision. Just a Nikon.
Okay. All right. So we're trying to figure out why an alien would show up at a paranormal investigation.
That's wild. And I see a light anomaly on that door that's shining that way. See, right where you had drawn that square. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there's no telling, buddy. That's wild, dude. I like that. That is insane. It looks just exactly like a gray alien.
Yes.
Because that's what they say the grays look like, is they got those big eyes. They have the big head because they think they're more psychic. You know, they don't have mouths and all that stuff. So, I mean, man, that's something else. Hey, you've really cut. That's a cool photo. I like that.
So the unique thing about this is, so it's, like I said, a modified Nikon that does full spectrum. So it should be purple lighting. And Jeff was just going nuts, clicking. And I think he took a lot of photos. And this was the one photo that it malfunctioned on, the lighting. And that came up. And then it was business as normal. So could the energy have screwed the camera up? We don't know. That's up for debate. Why would that happen? And why would it produce that? That's wicked.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's a really good photo. Because there's no, I mean, you at first, I always look at photos like this, and I immediately try to see if it's pareidolia, just to see if it's your mind taking that photo and turning it into something. But from the way that it's looking, even the side, from the right and the left of it, there's nothing similar that looks like that. The light anomaly up there that's near the door, it doesn't look like it's making a lens flare that's headed over to it. I mean, that stands out. I mean, that really does stand out. I can't really see the body, but just because that loom is a little in front of it. But that head, man, that stands out big time. And the big eyes, all that.
You can see the depth in it too. That's what does it for me.
Yeah. You can see in that one eye. You can actually see where it looks like it. You have a depth perception of it right here. It looks like a cheek that goes back and toward. Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's something else.
The interesting part about that is everybody else was in the room behind Jeff. So whatever that is looking at the people in that room where everybody is congregated.
It could be a watcher too, you know. They call them the watchers. There's one of the aliens or extraterrestrials is a watcher, and they watch people. And you might have caught a watcher watching you, just seeing what's happening. Look into the watchers. That may be something that could be. That's wild. Yeah, creeping up on you and doing some peeping Tom at you. That's a good photo though. That's good stuff. And I love the idea that dude. What's his name? Mark.
Yeah,
Jeff.
Great job on taking tons of photos, dude. Because I get into a spot, bro, and it can just be one little small house, and I'll take 500 photos, and I'm not exaggerating one bit. I mean, I went to Old Gray Cemetery up here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it's not a big cemetery. And I went through literally and looked on my camera, and there was 672 photos that I had taken. Because literally every time that I'm looking at something, I'm taking 3 in a row. Taking one first one, one second one, and then the third one just to verify if I'd seen something, so that way it gives kind of that video-ish look to it. Because if I'm not videoing it, I want to know what happened right before it, what happened during it, and what happened after, and it's if I can verify that same thing. So good job on that. Tons of photos.
All right.
I find that happens a lot. Like, because people will throw photos at me being like, "Oh, I caught this anomaly down the hallway."
Yeah.
And then I'll always ask them, like, "Can I see the burst?" Like 1, 2. Because it's usually number 2 photo, and then the 3.
I always recommend it.
One photo, and then for me, that's not enough. You need to see the. But then you get yelled at.
10 minutes.
No, you have to. I'm with you on that, man. I mean, I recommend that to anybody that's listening or watching. Absolutely, take as many photos as you can take, especially if you think you've seen something. Take 5 or 6, man. I mean, because you have to debunk. I hate using that word, but debunk the lens flare, or the dust, or the bug, or something inside the lens, or all that. You have to debunk all that stuff, so that way, more photos you have, the better way that you're going to have a chance to investigate that spot.
All right. We got 10 minutes left. We got a bunch of questions from our audience here. Arlene is asking, do you ever explore the old mountain homestead ruins for spirits?
Old Mountain Homestead ruins. Sometimes. I actually went up to Wonderland Hotel area up near Elkmont, which I've got some videos on my YouTube channel with this. And I'm going back, and I'm putting together a video that myself, Jay Lynch, and Teresa, I don't know if you know them, and a few others, we actually went up to this area to where it was old stuff to where this is where people would come up to hunt and to fish, because the Smoky Mountains, I'm just right on the foothills of Smoky Mountains where Gatlinburg, Tennessee and everything is. And this is where a lot of these folks would just go up and they'd build their little houses. There's a whole abandoned ghost town up there. And there was this thing that's called the Wonderland Hotel area. And they had these cabins that were set up that people would come up and live in. And all these little stuff that had been burnt, actually it got burnt down after we had went up there, which was regretful. The first time I went up there, I've got a video on my YouTube on this one. I went up there and everything was still intact, and literally about 3 weeks after I had went up there, somebody had went up and burned it down. And it was these kids and all this is pretty bad stuff. But one thing that's pretty crazy about that is I went back up there after this stuff had burnt down. I had caught music, because there was a dance hall in this place where people would dance back then. I had caught music and voices and a lot more stuff since that had happened. So yeah, there's and anywhere, like when I went out to Reno, Nevada, out there where what was the name of that fort? Fort Churchill, I believe is the name of it. I took a bunch of photos there and found stuff there. Went into like a little spot right outside of where they were homesteading out there. It was Carson, right outside of Carson City, Nevada, and they were like a hospital where it's not the Civil War, that because I think Civil War over here, whatever went on over there, but the fort had a little hospital there, and my ex-teammate at the time went into this thing, started crying immediately as he went in, like just bawling. And there was no reason for that. He said nothing bad going on. And he literally walked into this place and started crying. So yeah, I mean, I love that kind of stuff, checking those places out, because like I said, everywhere to me is haunted. You find the right places and things that have been there for a long time. You got the stone tape theory where things will collect energy, and you can get in there and turn on a recorder and start picking up like residual energy off of just walls and stuff like that. So yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
All right, let's continue on here. And little Ronnie Moniak said, I kept shooting that area all night, by the way. He was in with Merle and Jeff during that time when the alien photo was caught. And he goes, I was drawn to that area under the staircase. I felt it. I'd never seen it, though. So it's kind of interesting how that works. But another question from, where is it here? I just had it here. Mystic Moon. Merle, what was the atmosphere like? Charged? Creepy? That was in the post house there.
In the post, well, that visit, I didn't really in the post house that night. I didn't really experience much until we went to the barn. But like we were just saying, Ron Muniak, he was with us, and that guy's bang on, especially in the barn. Where remember Dave when we were upstairs? That's when the energy switched to me. It came charged and creepy when Ross had his experience with the man on the walkway.
Yes. Listening to Ross Allison scream like a banshee is always a fun time. Not going to lie. And I know he's listening right now and probably laughing while I say that.
And I promised I'd never out him, Dave. You just outed him.
He outed him. He's outed himself a few times on that. But I have a theory about Ross, though. I think he screams like that when he's not wearing his top hat while investigating. He needs to wear the top hat while...
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired their personal trainer as a caterer.
All right, folks, let's keep this line moving. You there with the tongs. Picking up one Duchess potato at a time will not cut it at my catering table. Drop and give me 50.
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Okay, this is what we call the wild mushroom and asparagus dip, and press. Come on, let's get those plates above your heads.
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. Being a baseball fanatic like me can be stressful. It's not all sports points and touchdowns. So Progressive is going to help you take your mind off your team for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they missed that goal point score, think about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, letting you choose coverage options based on your budget, unlike your team that missed the end zone net area. Well, anyway, hope this distraction about Progressive's Name Your Price tool was helpful. It sure kept me from thinking about all those penalty balls. Yay, sports!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Investigating. That's just my opinion.
That's his protection.
Yeah. Puts like a giant shield around him. But I don't know if we'll ever get into investigate there again.
Though, to answer Wendy's Mystic Moon question, I can talk about another time. The Post House was probably one of my most extreme investigations. Dave, you remember that night.
We were on the air when you messaged me.
Yeah. So Sandra and I were going to go investigate the Post House, but for whatever reason, we kept hesitating to go in. Don't know what it was. Don't know why. We drove around. We just stared at the building. And then we're like, fine, let's just do it. We get out and we hear yelling from inside this 1800s roadhouse building. And It's locked because I have the keys in my hand. And I'm like, oh, damn. I'm like, Sandra, roll the camera in case there's people inside, because it's good evidence, right, if people are breaking and entering. Yeah. And I unlock it, and the door kind of just popped open because we heard more noise inside. And that night was probably one of the most charged, negative feeling investigations I've ever done. I even called Dave when he was doing his show. I'm like, what the hell, man's going on here? And he was given the play-by-play during his live broadcast. And then once his show was over, he came to the Post House and we investigated further. But yeah, that place has...
It was opening the door for you. It was calling you in.
Opened the door with a warped vacuum feeling sucking me in.
Man,
it was scary.
I bet.
It was scary.
Especially if it's locked and you got keys in your pocket. You don't know what's going on in there.
No. It's like, this is supposed to be closed, man.
We got 3 minutes, guys. Anastasia has a question. Have you ever investigated Gettysburg, Nick?
No, I do want to go, though, because I know a few people that lives around there. And my dad has been a Civil War nut. I mean, for as long as I've been alive. So, that would be amazing. I had a buddy actually had got to go to that Gettysburg place and took a photo, and you can see literally the top half of a soldier. And it's walking right through one of those where they've got the cannons set up on the outside for the looky-loos. There's literally a guy, and it's just the waist up, and you can see it's a darkest shadow, and you can see that he's got the belt on, and he's got the hat, and he's got his his big rifle and everything. You see the top half of the rifle and everything on that standing literally out in the open.
Wow,
it's crazy. Yeah, I'd love to go there. One of my bucket list places.
My uncle told me a story about Gettysburg. He was he's retired Navy man. He was in the Navy for 30 plus years, and then he became a truck driver for fun, going up and down the East Coast. And he was going through Pennsylvania, and he was in the middle of the night. I think he was going through Gettysburg, and he was at a truck stop, and he said he saw a transparent Confederate soldier walking across the parking lot with his rifle. He looked wounded, looked at him, and then walked through the cement washroom.
Actually looked at him?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Then that's not residual. That was something really there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's something cool right there. Just to know there's intelligence, because that's why, if it's residual, it won't even know it won't react to you being there. Mm-hmm. And if it's intelligent, it's going to react. So that means there's something intelligent there walking around. That's nuts, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Just to think that, man, that'd be something to see.
Crazy times. We got time for one more question. This one from Jeremy. Have you explored the Ryman Auditorium?
No, sure haven't. No, that's another one. There's a few of them out there. I want to go to Eastern State too. That's another one I want to go to. Eastern State Penitentiary. There's a few big ones. I got to go all through Virginia City. That was a place. Checked out the Piper Opera House, the Washoe Club, Mackey's Mansion. Those places up through there. Now that's the latest things I've done. And you talk about some really cool. That whole Virginia City is haunted. The whole city. I walked up there literally the first time. As soon as I pulled into that place and parked in, because you can go up through the middle where it's all at, but there's a little parking lot that's right down as soon as you get into it. As soon as I got out of my car and started walking up, I literally felt like there was something walking behind me the whole way, and it sounded like there was somebody walking. I turned around, there's nobody there. That's the craziest thing ever.
Gentlemen, we have 30 seconds left. It goes to the Great White North. Nick, quickly give your locations where people can follow you.
You can check me out. You can actually Google me. It's the easiest way. If you just put in Nick White Paranormal, it'll bring up a lot of stuff. But you can check me on Instagram as @CagesOfDarkness. Twitter, I'm usually on Twitter a lot, @CagesOfDarkness as well. Started new streaming. I'm a Call of Duty player, so you can go to Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Nick White CTD, Charlie Tango Delta. YouTube channel, you can look me up if you put in Nick T. White. I'm the only Nick T. White on there. So you can check me out there. And, man, just holler at me just anywhere. I'm always around. You just give me a shout, and I'll say what's up to you.
All right. Nick T. White, Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers, which you can find on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We continue with Hour 3 and the Swamp next on Spaced Out Radio. We're clear. Good show, guys.
All right.
Strong show.
Good show.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'll give you a few claps.
Right on.
Merle T-shirt worked well tonight, buddy. The Merle T-shirt
Dude,
worked
I love
well.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to wear it every ghost show.
I got to get myself a Paranormal.
Seriously, I want a shirt that says Paranormal.
Here,
I love that.
Here, I'll show you here. Hold on. Let me find it here. Hold on. Let's go to the shop here.
The new Paranormal shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, dude. I love that. It's the greatest ever.
He hates the whole Merle thing. He does. It's hilarious.
Oh, no way.
It's
I love it,
absolutely
dude.
hilarious.
Dig in on it, dude. Dig in on it. It's great. I'm telling you right now. Oh, look at that.
There's
I love
the
it.
Merle shirt. Right
I
there.
love it.
And then,
why can't you make a Merle bomber jacket?
Yeah, the bomber jacket looks cool. Put Paranormal on one of those. I'll wear it everywhere.
There it is. Paranormal.
There it is. Paranormal. I love it. Dude, that's good stuff. Heck
When's
yeah,
the
man.
Merlicious one launching?
Merlicious.
It's on there right now, man. It's on there right now.
Great. That is great, dude.
Paranormal.
Merlicious. I love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. There you go. It's all on the website. Paranormal. There you go.
Paranormal. That's good stuff, dude. I love it. I love it.
It's great. It's absolutely
Heck yeah,
great.
man.
We got it.
Yeah, dig
right.
in on that, buddy. That's the good stuff.
All right, boys.
I'm gonna give a little
shouty
sneak
shout
peek for next week's guest. Next month's guest.
Yeah.
Maybe Civil War related.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Is it Mark Spender?
No, Mark doesn't know Civil War.
Well, he is that old.
He is that old. Well, he does use a muzzle loader.
Yes, he does.
Oh, wow. Those things are wicked. Those things will knock you on your butt, too. My grandfather had one of those. I shot one time, and it knocked me on right on my butt. Quick as could be. Had a bruise on my right arm over through here. It's just black and blue, dude. It's horrible. It's one of my first experiences with a gun. Yeah, that was a good time.
Do we have a lot of audience questions, Dave? I enjoy those.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Well, either way, guys, I got to get going. Good night, Titch McGee. Thank you for filling in for the vacationing Veronica Corningstone. Appreciate that. I think that is one of the best YouTube names ever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Got to know Anchorman to understand that. But
I love that show. I'm kind of a big deal.
Exactly. Dirty Filth.
Many leather-bound books.
Nick, before we let you go, Dirty Filth wants to know what your Twitch is again.
Twitch.tv/Nick White CTD, Charlie Tango Delta.
Nick White, Cage the Darkness. Merle, I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All right, boys. Take care, guys.
Thanks,
Right
Nick.
on.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for swearing, Merle. Appreciate
Oh,
that.
it's the first time in 6 years. A long time.
I'll get it edited, Merle. Don't you worry. I'll get it edited.
It'll go beep.
I always wanted to have one of those.
All right, one final Merle for you before you go there. I dance Merlesque.
I'm going to get one in, too. Merle!
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 See you, boys.
All right.
Later. All right. Nick T. White, Merle. Great times with them tonight. Great times with them. Fantastic. Fantastic. Wonderful. We got like 2 minutes. I got to get Shirky Poo's news ready. And the fedora wearing John Hudson just around the corner, who loves a little Merle action. Where's my Shirky Poo? Shirky Poo, where's your news? There it is. All right. We got just another minute here. 1 second. Just getting a... let's see here. How much time? We got one more. There we go. Cool. All right. I think we're good. We're good. We good. We good. Hey, little Marky Spender. Merle does live in Canada. Near Vancouver. Merle is not single. Mark, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't look a day over 79. Just saying.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. A backdoor. A backdoor is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as a clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is that time of the night once again where we get a little spooky with you all, and we head into the swamp. Our main man, our creepypasta guru, Swamp Dweller, returns.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. I don't even know where to start. I've been listening to your show for quite some time, and I'm still hesitant to share my stories. I love your channel, and it keeps me company through my very lonely workdays. I spend all of my free time outdoors in the woods or on the national and state parks in my area, and with my horses. I live in a very tiny, rural community on the edge of a game reserve near the oldest town on the Mississippi River. I've been here all of my life. There is something in the woods down here, and we are definitely not alone. Off and on, my whole life, I have gotten the feeling that I was being watched when I was in the woods. Not every time, but enough to pay attention to it. I am not the type of girl you want to grab a hold of. I can hold my own in a fight, and although I am no Doc Holliday, I am very good with a firearm. But what good would one really do? You can't kill something that is already dead. Enough rambling. I'm sorry, I'm just nervous. I don't normally share these type of things or to talk about this story. One of my favorite spots to go rock hunting is the small creeks and streams on the Natchez Trace. The Trace is a historic forest trail in the United States that is roughly 440 miles long. A beautiful place. I started off down the trail, and I was probably around the creek at about 1.5 miles down the dirt path. I made my way down the creek with the help from a live oak branch that I used many times before. I was on a mission that day to find an arrowhead. It was a late summer afternoon, so the weather was amazing. A nice gentle breeze to accompany me, animals rustling in the leaves, birds singing, and the woods were generally very busy today. I was just enjoying myself, arrowhead or not. I hadn't really been paying attention to how long or how far I had been walking, when a beautiful agate caught my eye. Super excited, I bent down to wash it off and put it in my bag. When I was washing the agate off, I noticed the only thing I could hear was the sounds of the water swishing within my hands. No birds, no breeze, no animals scurrying. Still, kneeling in the creek, I had an overwhelming feeling of heaviness, like someone had thrown a weighted blanket over me. I was afraid to look up. I had the feeling I was being watched, and from close by. I finished washing my agate off and put it in my bag, trying desperately to act as if nothing was wrong. I stood up and fake stretched, side to side, trying to nonchalantly scan the edge of the woods, when my stomach dropped. I did not notice where I was. There was no way in hell I got turned around. I was literally walking up the creek and never got out of the water. But, for some reason, the place I was at did not seem familiar, and the sun seemed to be setting rather fast. Then, all of a sudden from about 10 feet behind me, came a clicking sound, and heavy, deep breathing. I did not want to turn around, but I had to. It was my only way back. The water was flowing nice and smoothly in the opposite direction I was facing. So I started to pump myself up. For whatever reason, I was about to see or experience something that many have not. I did not have a gun with me, but I had my case knife and was well prepared to whoop someone's ass for stalking me. I think I would have felt better if I had seen another human being, regardless of their intentions. When I turned around, there was nothing there. I did not see a thing, but the woods were still quiet, not a sound. The only thing I could hear was the water splashing as I high-stepped myself out of there. I had to have been about 4 to 5 miles from my truck at this point. I started to quicken my pace when I noticed I was making a huge amount of noise for just 2 feet. So I quickly stopped, and my heart sank when I heard rustling of leaves and grass stop shortly after. Then the clicking sound continued. I know the animals we have here in these woods, and they don't make any noises like that. So I quickened my pace, making a ton of noise running down the creek. Whatever was behind me was walking along the bank, and it sounded like it was very heavy. The clicking continued getting closer and closer. Just then, whatever was behind me jumped down into the water. I hit a gear I never knew I even had, and no way in hell I was going to try and turn around and look at whatever this thing was. I could see the live oak reaching around the bend in the creek, almost like it was reaching out to help me. I knew at that point the truck was not very far away. At the time, I was a pack-a-day smoker of Marlboro Reds, and my lungs felt like they were going to explode from the pain. I grabbed the live oak, my hand slipped, and just as I got a better grip and began to pull myself up, I felt something tight and painful, almost burning on my leg. I screamed like a madwoman and began kicking like a mule. I pulled away and ran as fast as I could up the dirt path to my truck. Halfway down the path I heard a crow. Then I noticed my footsteps were the only ones I could hear, and the life had come back into the woods again. My leg was scratched up pretty bad, and I could feel it bleeding, but I did not stop to check it out until I got into my car. I slammed into the truck, got my keys from the hideout box, and jumped inside. I got the hell out of there, and I have not been back since. Now, whether or not something had my leg, I do not know. And I can't say for sure. But it could have been an old barbed wire fence, I suppose, maybe something like that hiding. But I've never seen one before, and I go there all the time. I don't know. One thing is for sure. Always pay attention when the woods go silent, and always bring something to protect yourself. You never know what could be out there.
Very true. Good advice from the Swamp and Swamp Dweller. Make sure you go to his YouTube channel and sign on up for it. We are just waiting for the fedora-wearing John Hudson to join us as we have another edition of the Unbiased UFO Report. All right, it's time for John Hudson, the fedora-wearing UFO specialist, and the Unbiased UFO Report coming on in with some great news. How you been doing, buddy?
Good. Yourself, man?
I'm good. I am very good.
Good.
I got my new hat today, my new Merle shirt today.
Oh, nice. I really like the hat. The hat's good.
Yeah, I got my new watch today, so I'm all good.
Well, what's the watch?
When you need business mobility solutions that are more than just business as usual, you need Enterprise. A trusted partner, Enterprise has the expertise to help you go the extra mile. For the short term, for the long haul, and everywhere in between. So go with someone who thinks outside the box truck and get custom transportation solutions that maximize productivity, reliability, and savings. Go with Enterprise and start driving business.
If you love to be remembered as the person who gives the best birthday gifts, I'm here to tell you that 1-800-Flowers.com is your ultimate birthday gifting destination. 1-800-Flowers has thoughtful and artfully created options that are guaranteed to deliver the best birthday surprise. Shop thousands of unique gifts at 1-800-Flowers.com for exclusive offers and great values. To order today, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/tune-in. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/tune-in.
That is a diesel watch right there.
Oh, I was worried it was a Merle watch.
No, I wish it was a Merle watch. I'm a big diesel watch guy.
Yes. No, I remember you showing me. They make some beautiful stuff, and it's in a nice range.
Very true. Yeah, and that said, without Diesel sponsoring us, just so you know, I would like Diesel watches to sponsor us. So if you're listening, Diesel, I work for watches, man. Who cares about the money? I just want the watches. All right, let's get right into it, my friend, because one of the most mysterious people in ufology is a gentleman named Hal Puthoff, who has worked in some of the deepest, darkest secret offices in the United States, from remote viewing to UFOs. And recently, on Twitter, mathematician, I apologize for his name,
Eric Weinstein
was absolutely flabbergasted about some information that came out about UFOs. So what do you got going on for us?
Okay, so a teeny bit of background. So Eric Weinstein, I've talked about him several times. I will admit bias. I like the guy, and he he does a lot of podcast stuff. He does a lot of work with Lex Friedman, and he kind of boasts as being the mathematician on Twitter with the most followers. This last I heard him talk about it, somewhere north of 500,000 followers, and he's a pretty wicked smart dude, and basically he finally got it drilled into his head recently that maybe just small possibility, maybe some of these UFO things are for real, right? And the crazy thing was that he was shocked. And watching him go through this process has been a really good educational experience for everyone, because you can kind of see he actually goes through almost like stages of grief, right? He goes through periods where he gets angry and he starts lashing out at people. He's like, well, how can me in academia, how can my friends in academia who are in these crazy good roles, not know about this, and it's going on, getting really upset, right? Well, basically, this gentleman by the name of Blake Truelove, who I'm not familiar with, somehow finagled an interview where it's really a meeting, really, between Hal Puthoff and Eric Weinstein. And this is a big deal because essentially from the very first day that Eric started coming out on Clubhouse about UFO knowledge, myself and many other people started telling him, you need to talk to Hal Puthoff. You need to talk to Hal Puthoff. You need to talk. We get like all of it. And I can't imagine how many people were. He was probably getting sick of hearing it, And so for this to finally happen is just like epic. And unfortunately, being probably a good marketing guy, Blake is only teasing out a small portion of it and not the full interview yet. But I want to read this little portion to you because it's very impactful. So basically what it is it's Eric Weinstein saying to Hal Puthoff, the role of aerospace companies as holders of potentially basic scientific knowledge and not share it with the academic world seems very wrong to me. And Hal responds with, well, it may be wrong, but it's true. And Eric responds with, it's true? You believe it's true? And Hal responds with, yeah, I know it's true. And Eric responds with, you know that there are physics knowledge held by aerospace companies that is not shared by and Hal cuts him off and says, well, there are certainly materials knowledge that involve topological physics that is well better known within these realms. Or something along those lines. I'm screwing up the last of it. But I mean, essentially, this was Hal putting down, I was actually surprised he did this. But, but basically, this was Hal being very assertive and saying, look, this is not something I believe. This is something I know. I know this to be true. And it was a very interesting exchange. And if that's anything like what the rest of the interview is, man, I'm going to be there with popcorn.
Wow. Hal Puthoff does not make a lot of public appearances. No. Never mind his age. I mean, he's in his mid-80s. He is still one of the most controversial people in ufology. I think that's a very fair statement. He's part of the To the Stars Academy. He's worked closely with the CIA. He's worked closely with Robert Bigelow, the United States Defense Department. He has done absolutely everything.
Yeah, but I'll say he's also an incredibly articulate, very well spoken, and for the roles that he's had, a surprisingly communicative, person with a little bit of charisma, and his communication style is effective. And so I really wish that he could come out more and talk, because man, every single time I hear that guy talk, I learn something new, and that's not very common for me. So I adore the guy.
This is going to be an interesting interview when it gets released.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, because Eric Weinstein is one of the most highly commended mathematicians in the United States. And
yes.
I mean, to put the equivalent for people who don't understand, he would be mathematics equivalent of Neil deGrasse Tyson almost. I mean, how many mathematicians have... Yeah. How many mathematicians have over 500,000 followers on social media? There's not many.
Yeah, I think that's... Yeah, no, I think that's very fair. I think that's very, very fair. And Eric's a very typical math whiz in that essentially he went into finance. And so and so that's a lot of his broadcasts are on finance. But he's a wicked smart dude. He's a fun, in my opinion, a very fun person to listen to interview because he shows a lot of raw expression when he's discussing stuff, and Eric's one of those few people around that I really hope to meet someday. I think pretty highly of him.
Okay, yeah, but the point that I'm getting at is it's very easy when you have somebody of Eric Weinstein's accreditation getting into UFOs to be able to talk to someone like Hal Puthoff. When you're at that educational level, it's easy to talk to the big boys, so to speak.
You would hope so. You would seriously hope so. I don't, I don't know. You would seriously hope so. I don't know if that's true or not.
But the point that I'm getting at is this conversation that took place, what impact could this have?
Oh, well, the ramifications could be deep and far-reaching because of the fact that Eric Weinstein is not only a finance guy that's well-known and a math-focused individual that's very, very, but he's into the social aspects of academia, right? And so he gets involved in a lot of discussions. There's a lot of podcasts. He does a lot of clubhouse things. So he's a very outbound individual. His brother is also a very accomplished outbound individual. And there's a lot of people that listen to him, and there's a lot of other very smart people that listen to him who themselves have podcasts that have impressive follower lists. And so the result of all this is that this interview is going to touch. It's not necessarily going to touch a completely different group than say like what's his? Oh, I forget his name now. I'll remember it later. But some of the newer guys, right? But it is certainly I don't know. To me, it's going to be absolutely fascinating. I mean, I'm so looking forward to seeing this interview.
All right, let's move on to topic number 2 before our break here, and we'll probably end up continuing right through there. There was a major UFO sighting over Texas. Yeah, with JetBlue, man. I was like, man, I don't have any flown on JetBlue, but like it's actually nice. They do some of them actually do like the blue lighting. It's very relaxing. But yeah. So I mean, this is and the thing that's so great about this. Well, actually, you know what? Here, let me take that back. Let me read some of what was written about it. So basically, the JetBlue pilot reported seeing what he said was a UFO that was transforming. His words. In midair at 37,000 feet over Texas. The footage appears to have been taken from inside the cockpit, and it shows a white dot hovering in the distance. And the video is unfortunately not super exciting. Without the testimony, it wouldn't be worth very much. But essentially, the clip was posted by a Reddit user who claimed to be a friend of the pilot. Who claimed the encounter happened last week. In it, the white spot can be seen disappearing before coming back. And essentially, the pilot is said to have noted that there was nothing showing on the radar for air traffic control, nothing showing on air traffic collision control avoidance systems at the time the video was taken. He added that it was over Texas at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard, ground speed 37,000 feet. We witnessed for about 5 minutes, at which point it disappeared and then came back. It looked like two boxes melding into each other. The actual setting was spectacular beyond what the video shows. We were stunned. This is a great sighting, and this guy did a really nice job of collecting the right kind of data and doing it in, for the most part, a very unemotional way, but then showing that he was impressed, right? Like, I mean, there was an emotional aspect of it for him too. I hope the way this was reported encourages other people to report this way. I think this is a really good way of reporting this. Well, the big thing that we have to look at, and we'll get into the pilot's encounter here momentarily, but the big thing we have to look at here too is the safety of it all. Because, look, when you're traveling at 500 knots or 500 miles per hour as per ground speed, you have to understand that those windows close very quickly between you and another craft. If that other craft is going at 500 miles an hour, you have a combined speed of 1,000 miles an hour going into each other. That gives you literally maybe a minute to react. Okay, if that.
Which is why that automatic collision avoidance systems that most planes have is so bloody critical.
Exactly. But this also brings up a good point too. Okay, we have seen numerous people in the UFO world highly critical of pilots recently. We've all been asking for decades, John, for pilots to speak up about what they saw, because they never did for fear of losing their job. Mm-hmm. All right? And now that we are starting to get pilot reports...
With good reason.
We have all of these amateur aviators who, most of them, have never flown an airplane before, stating that, oh, it's a balloon. Oh, it's flares. Oh, it's a Japanese lantern, or Chinese Absolutely. Lantern. I mean, these people are trained to see everything. And when you have 100 people, 200 people, or in the case of a 747 or a 787 where you got 500 plus people on an aircraft, okay, that's a lot of responsibility on someone's shoulders. You have to pay attention. And they take
it very seriously.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, no. They take it very seriously, and we all adore them for it. I'm someone who's spent a lot of time on airplanes, and I'm very, very grateful. But you're dead on. There's tremendous pressure on them, and if you think about it, like, I don't want to put anyone in tears, but if you compare someone who flies professionally, and flies professionally from the point of view of lives at risk, right? Whether that be a commercial pilot or whether that be a military pilot, that is a different level of intensity and a different level of observational intensity that is going to change the way they observe things.
Absolutely. We're going to continue this conversation about the JetBlue pilot observing a UFO at 37,000 feet just last week. And we're going to continue this with John Hudson and the Unbiased UFO Report when we return on Spaced Out Radio. In the final half hour, we continue with the fedora-wearing John Hudson, Shirky Poo's news, and we may even have some time to squeeze in the thought of the day. It's been a jam-packed show tonight, moving at 500 miles an hour. We're cruising right through the half hour here on Spaced Out Radio. John, I'm going to let you talk to the audience. I'm going to quickly take a bathroom break, okay?
Yep, it's all good. Okay, so I don't know how many of you were around before, but a couple of weeks ago, somebody seemed very impassioned, and they asked that I wear a shirt with some color to it. And someone actually specifically asked if I at least had a bloody Hawaiian shirt somewhere. So I wanted to point out that I here we go. So, and it's probably never going to happen again. So just, here you go. So just, it is actually color, and you can see color. It's I don't normally wear color. So how is everyone doing, man? So, I guess one question I have for the audience, if anyone wants to throw out an answer to this, is that, and I don't mean to sound so negative, but it just seems to me that it's very rare that anyone takes a picture or a film of something in the sky and it ends up looking as impressive as it did in person, right? And to me, that almost never happens with anything in the sky, right? And this is a big complaint and frustration that we see in especially first-time observers, where they're like, here's the video, and they see the video, and they're like, and you can see the frustration. They're like, but it looked so much cooler in person, right? And you can feel it, they're telling the truth. It does. It looks, even if you go take a picture of the moon, right? I mean, it's wacky the way this works. And so I guess my question to the audience is that, do you folks know of anyone, or have you personally ever been in a situation where someone's taken a video of something and the video has actually been as impressive as what they saw with their own eyes? Has anyone ever actually seen it work out where the real epic nature of what was being seen by the eyes are actually fully captured by the camera. Like, I mean, ground objects I get, right? But flying objects are different. I don't know. I just, yeah, but the thing is, iPhones have gotten, I mean, you can criticize iPhones all you want, but the truth of the matter is that iPhones have gotten, the cameras have gotten really good. The pressure that the market has put on Apple to improve those cameras is astounding, because the cameras you can get in other phones are even more astounding. And I mean, you know, you can do a lot, and there's a lot of post-processing that goes on. And so, I mean, essentially, yeah, I mean, an iPhone or a phone camera is a different class of camera than like an SOR or anything that has like real like glass and real mirrors and real optics to it. But they've gotten pretty damn good. I mean, I don't know. To me, anyway, they've gotten pretty good. I mean, I'm to the point now where, like, I mean, I think the latest iPhone now is probably about as good as the Canon, you know, SLR that I bought, you know, 15 years ago or something like that. Yeah, true. That's true. They can't zoom against a black background. You got the 13 Pro? Yeah, I heard the pictures are just... Oh, and you have the LiDAR on that one, too. That one I'm looking really forward to. There's a guy... There's a great guy... there's a great YouTube channel called Uncharted X that does Egyptian stuff. And one of the things he started doing recently is, with his iPhone, is doing LiDAR scans of things that he goes to see in Egypt. And then he uses the LiDAR scan to actually show the image in his YouTube channel, and then actually offers you the file to download. So you can actually download the file yourself. It's freaking awesome. I love it.
Hey, John. How are you?
What's up, dude? I'm good. Yeah, the Samsungs. I'm almost tempted to get a Samsung just as a camera.
Let's give a shout out to Game Vet, Gorgeous Carol for showing on up. And who else joined us here late? Tits McGee was supposed to go to bed, but she didn't. Mystics Walk, how are you? Thanks for joining us. We got 2 inches of snow outside. 2 more inches.
2 inches?
Yeah. 2 more.
2 more.
Yeah. Isn't that nice?
That's lovely. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Let's see. What is it like right now? I forgot. You can't do weather on an iPad.
All right, we got 20 seconds here, buddy.
Yep, we're good.
All right.
Oh, it's 47 here, Dave.
Nice T-shirt weather. I'm in a T-shirt right now, John.
Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, you're that guy. All right, hold on here. Here we go. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio, so check it on out. We continue on with the unbiased UFO report with the fedora-wearing John Hudson, and we are talking about this incredible story over Texas that happened last week where a JetBlue pilot actually caught a video and photograph of a UFO at 37,000 feet. I mean, this is incredible, John. And
well, and Sorry, go ahead, please.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say is what I love about this is a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was a couple months ago now. We all a lot of us got involved in this discussion about how important it was that pilots report what they see. And there was one sighting. I forget what it was. There was some pilot sighting that happened a couple months ago, and people kind of talked about.
Socks are the #1 most requested item at homeless shelters. Underwear second, and shirts are third. At Bombas, socks were first, made with comfortable details for everyday wearing. Then underwear, and shirts too, all designed to perfectly fit. At Bombas, every item you purchase means you're donating an essential clothing item to someone in need. One comfortable clothing item for you, one donated to someone in need. Bombas, comfort for all. Get 20% off your purchase at bombas.com/comfy.
Your teams need to master new technologies fast, and they need answers to pressing problems right now. Don't stress. With O'Reilly, your tech teams can learn what they need and get back to work fast. Visit O'Reilly.com for a demo. That's O'Reilly.com.
About what they should be reporting and so forth. And it's almost like this guy watched all that content and then went and saw one and went, oh, okay, this is what I should do then, right? Like, it's awesome. Like, I mean, he got he didn't catch down every detail. Sure, there's lots of stuff that I'm sure people would love it, but he got the basics. He got the coverage. This is a beautiful, beautiful case. He got video, he got a picture, he got a great description. The only thing that's unfortunate is, like many things, the images aren't as impressive as what he saw with his own eyes. But it's a great description. It's a little unfortunate that he had to report it through a friend, but baby steps. We're getting there. And the thing is that to me, okay, so what I'm hoping this is a preview of is what we see in the near future, and that is that we see a JetBlue pilot report something like this, but it gets reported by JetBlue as well, right? And then we see this new office out of the Pentagon, right, basically respond as well and say, hey, there's lots of people looking into it. We're looking into it as well. If we can share anything, we will. And then, some couple months later, some couple weeks later, we get some report that, has, 30-40% of the truth in it.
Well, I mean, the whole point is, though, this is also a very positive trend that aviation pilots, whether they're commercial, whether they're private, or even military now, don't have to fear about losing their wings all because of a UFO report. I mean, this is what's really massive, John.
Yeah. Well, and in this case, there still was a little bit of hesitation because if you notice, this was reported through a friend. The pilot himself did not report, so the pilot is still remaining anonymous, right? But I mean, that once again, I get it. Like, I'm not sure I would do anything different. We need baby steps. Yeah, I'm not good at that game.
Well, I mean, looking at the
you know what though?
Hold on. Looking at the video, let me explain it for our radio people. The pilot is looking at it's not a good, strong video. It's obviously from a phone that he's capturing this, and it is a white round object, and of course, how can we put this? Oh, there we go. I hate it when that happens.
The sun.
I hate it when that happens. Trying to watch a video and it's pop up after pop up after pop up. I apologize to our YouTube crowd, but the video shows a tiny a tiny white dot in the blue sky mixed with clouds, and you could clearly see it is not a cloud. You could clearly see, that it's hard.
It looks a little fuzzy. It's a little elongated, right? And the thing is, it's the kind of thing where if you were looking right at that space in the sky, you would catch it. But if it was in your peripheral vision,
no way you'd see it.
I'm not sure you would.
No,
because it blends really well. It blends really well.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things really that you really have to be commendful that the pilots do it. And like we were saying right before the break, in the UFO world, a lot of these pilots, whether they're military or commercial, have been taking a lot of heat from, amateur ufologists, basically saying, "Oh, that's a balloon, that's a hot air balloon, that's a whatever it may be, swamp gas. Call it whatever you want." All right, people who've never flown a plane before, who just have to be skeptical for the sake of being skeptical. And I think what we are seeing here is, and I'll ask you this, are pilots going to be the new negative for commenting on UFOs because of their position?
Oh, well, I mean, sure. I guess it's possible. I would be shocked. I mean, to me, that's a very, very unlikely scenario because essentially that would require a bunch of different variables to flip in certain ways. I don't think that's likely. I think what's more likely is it you were to start to get to a point, and I do think this is going to happen, and I worry about this. We're going to get to a point in the not too distant future where these reports are going to become too common. And there's a chance that it'll turn into noise, and I would say that's a bigger risk to me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I probably didn't use the best of terms there, but I mean, if more pilots come out saying that they are establishing sightings and reporting sightings, I mean, you look at the criticism David Fravor has got, or Alex Dietrich.
Right.
And others have received on this, and these are people flying, multi-million-dollar aircraft.
Right, but that's the thing is that we get this reduced to a more mundane thing where the pilot that reports it doesn't get put on a pedestal, and they don't have to run around and do things on stage. They can just report what they saw and then keep their jobs and move on with their lives, right? And think about it, like, imagine if we get to a point in the future where someone like Cheryl, right, Cheryl Costa has enough of these that it starts getting included in her data. Like, how awesome would that be, right?
Could be. We'll have to see. All right, we got time for. Well, I'll just say point, just to agree with you, is that it's a very positive. It's a very positive outcome, and I think it bodes well for the future. All right, a slide seemed to come out as we move on in topics here. We got about 5 minutes left. A slide seemed to come out about the new version of the ATIP threat scenario. What's this all about?
Yeah, well, and the thing is I do apologize because I wanted to do some more digging as to when and where and exactly how this slide came out, because it is a version of an earlier slide that had circulated in some circles, and with some different information, some different phrasing, and some things that were blacked out before are no longer blacked out. So this is the most complete version of the slide that I've seen. But what I find very interesting is, and here, just real quick for everyone listening, let me just read some of this real quick just to kind of get the highlights. So it's a DoD threat scenario slide on the AATIP sub focus areas. So this is one of the slides that came out many moons ago. That was basically the ATIP deck, right? Like, what does ATIP do? Here, this is what ATIP does, right? And so they're talking about, that the science exists for an enemy of the United States to manipulate both physical and cognitive environments in order to penetrate U.S. facilities, influence decision makers, and compromise national security. These include psychotropic weapons, cognitive human interface, penetration of solid surfaces, instantaneous sensor disassembly, like what was seen at Skinwalker Ranch, alteration manipulation of biological organisms, anomalies in space-time construct, unique cognitive human interface experiences. It goes on to list DoD advantages. There's a kind of a weird quote at the bottom that says what was considered phenomena is now quantum physics. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I can understand what they're getting at. And essentially, to me, this is just a more supportive slide of what we had before. However, I have seen several people seem to be getting upset about this slide, and I'm not quite sure exactly what they're upset about. And maybe someone else can, enlighten me as to why this might be upsetting for people.
Okay, so looking at this slide, a couple things jump out at me. Psychotronic weapons. I don't even understand, and I don't think most people would understand what these are, John.
Correct. Yeah, but it's basically. I would have to look up the strict definition, but essentially, it typically has to do with it's using visual optics and lights and so forth to essentially confuse and to manipulate and to show alternate versions of things, and you can do some pretty crazy stuff. It's pretty nutty. It's pretty. Some of the stuff seems more fun than practical. But I'm sure they figured out ways to do it.
Okay, one other thing that kind of jumps out at me about this is where it says anomalies in the space-time construct. I mean, to me, maybe it's because I have wishful thinking, that sounds like time travel.
So, yeah, no, I wouldn't take it that way. What I would take that to mean is that they are seeing visual artifacts that match predictions on what a wormhole might look like, or what a portal might look like, or what a collision with another dimension might look like. And I would say that's probably a more accurate way of phrasing it, because the thing is that you look at when Dr. Eric Davis saw what he did in IR on Skinwalker Ranch, one of the things he specifically stated was that the geometry that he saw in that object that was in the air looked. He said, I couldn't go measure it, and he goes, but it looked a lot like the math that he had worked on a previous role where he was trying to figure out something similar, and it really caught him off guard. It was surprising for him.
John, there are 2 points on here that I find probably the most important read between the lines scenarios here. Number 1, DoD has relationships with renowned subject matter experts. Who are these experts? I would love to know. And number 2, DoD...
How put up?
Well, can I finish? You don't mind, do you?
Sorry.
DoD controls several facilities where activities have been detected. I mean, this is huge, these 2 statements. Yep. Huge, yep. John.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay,
yep.
You mentioned Hal Puthoff.
Yep. Well, yeah. Because the thing is that if you look at it, right? All these experts that they're talking about, these are folks like something like the Jasons, right? Basically, like groups of researchers with different specialties all over the country that they know. Hey, I know that if I need someone to look at welding, I'm going to go to that guy that Ross Coulthart interviewed, right? Because he was that Navy, guy that was doing all the research on welding advancements, right? So you get to know who to go to and who to attach with. And the thing is that to me, the more impactful and shocking aspect of this is that what we're seeing in writing here is that that this was used. It's implied that this may have been used to actually compromise security. And when you merge this with what we reported the other day of that individual seeing a shadow person in a top secret facility and not reporting it for fear of ridicule, this starts getting interesting.
It does get interesting. But the secrets, John, the secrets, like, this means that if they have control over several facilities where activities have been detected, this means there is way more going on out there than just what we're all choosing to look at Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes. However, yes. However, you could argue that this entire list was derived from Skinwalker Ranch. Now, I have no reason to know that's true, but what I'm saying is that you could argue that, and so that could be the case. Which just means that they're using a special situation to extrapolate to what the big picture might be. So saying because it's happening at Skinwalker, it could also be happening and is likely happening elsewhere.
Well, no, I understand that, but the fact that the United States government is working on these facilities wherever they may be, not only in the United States or maybe elsewhere, I mean, we haven't heard this before.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I'd like to know if they're hiring.
Oh, so do I, dude. So do I. You know, I mean, I just don't get it. John, we will talk to you very, very soon. Thank you, buddy, for
Always
another great edition of the Unbiased UFO Report. Let's get over to Shirky Poo's news. Shirky Poo has us all set up. Let's get right to it. The Missouri State Highway Patrol is reassuring the public that Batman villain Joker is not on the loose after a staff member sent an emergency alert mobile devices. Missouri residents received alerts from the Highway Patrol warning citizens of Gotham City to be on the lookout for a purple and green 1978 Dodge 3700 GT with the license plate number Ukidme. UKIDME, a description that matches the vehicle used by Jack Nicholson as the Joker in the 1989 film. The law enforcement agency explained in a Twitter post that the clown prince of crime is not on the loose in Missouri, which does not have a place called Gotham City. This was a test message. There was no alert, the Highway Patrol tweeted. The agency said the message was meant to be a routine test of Missouri's Blue Alert system. Moving on. Scary incident here. A man who pushed a woman in front of an approaching train at a Brussels metro station on Friday, January 14th, has been detained on suspicion of attempted manslaughter. The woman narrowly survived after the driver was able to pull the emergency brake just in time to avoid a fatal accident. In the video footage of the event, the lady can be seen with her head on the tracks as a train comes to a halt in front of her. In a statement, the Brussels Public Prosecutor's Office confirmed that police had been called to the Rogier metro station at 7:45 local time, where a young man had pushed a woman onto the tracks. And when the police arrived, they determined that the victim had already been rescued by witnesses. According to the prosecutor's office, rescue services attended to both the victim and the metro driver, and they received hospital treatment before being discharged. It appears that a young man, after walking back and forth on the platform, pushed a woman onto the tracks as the metro was approaching. The driver, warned by other people on the platform, was able to stop just in time. No one was injured. What a scumbag. Who does that? Horrible. Pearl Moss looked out her front window in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, was instantly worried. A major snowstorm pummeled through the Pittsburgh area and the East Coast over the weekend, dumped nearly a foot of snow in her driveway. I thought, what am I going to do? There is absolutely no way I could get out there and shovel myself, the 74-year-old said. She was recovering from shoulder surgery, didn't have any family members nearby to help dig her out, but a few hours later, a couple of angels came up. There was a knock at her door. She peeked out, surprised to see two teenage boys standing on her porch with shovels. Couldn't believe it, she said. They were going out to help shovel me out, and they didn't want a single penny for it. That's because David Sheltman and Aiden Campbell live in the same neighborhood. They play on the same football team at Bethel Park High, and head coach Brian DeLallo had emailed them and other team members Sunday to inform them that their Martin Luther King Day workout in the school gym wasn't going to happen, but instead the coach said, go shovel some people's driveways, people who need it. And that's exactly what the football team did. Fantastic coach. That's good coaching right there. That man deserves a very big public recognition for that. Absolutely. I want to say a big thank you to everybody tuning us in tonight. Really do appreciate it. A big thank you to Shirky Poo for the fantastic news that we put in on the news wire. John Hudson with his beautiful fedora and the unbiased UFO report, along with Swamp Dweller and our guest tonight, the Big Bad Merle, and of course Nick T. White from A&E Cursed the Bell Witch Haunting. Yeah, what a great show tonight. If you miss it, you can always check out the free archives, either on the podcast or on YouTube. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.
Streaming on Peacock. It's the girls' trip of a lifetime.
Look at this water. We're gonna give them something to talk about.
7 iconic housewives from 4 different cities.
Oh my God, a stingray!
Vacation at Turks and Caicos.
It's a party now.
And there's no party like a housewives party.
I don't give a f***. You're not a girl's girl. Why would you say that?
Find out what happens when the forecast brings sunshine and a whole lot of shade.
You are so self-absorbed. It's crazy.
The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. All episodes streaming now. Only on Peacock.